Welcome back to the Fast Life Podcast, which is brought to you by my guys at Simpson Motorcycle Helmets. You guys know I've been rocking these helmets daily for years, and if you want to get down with one, you can check them out at simpsonmotorcyclehelmets.com. And if you want to see all the cool things you can do to, with, and on these helmets, check out their Instagram at Simpson Motorcycle Helmets. Today's episode is with the guys over at S&S Cycles. Had a great time riding over there to the, I think it's Viola area, Wisconsin. It is absolutely gorgeous. It's one of the nicest places I've ridden in a long time. And it was tucked right there in the Midwest. So kind of a surprise. But anyway, it's a great podcast with the great dudes. And let's get right into these sponsors so we can jump into this episode. House of Harley Davidson, located in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, is my go-to dealership. Their service department is top-notch with some of the most skilled and knowledgeable techs out there. When you walk into House of Harley, their entire staff is into motorcycles. And you guys know finding a dealership that's connected to the motorcycle scene nationwide is very rare. I'm stoked to have these guys on as an official sponsor of the podcast, and more importantly, because you can drop the Fast Life offer code on their website, houseofharley.com, which will save you nearly 13% off genuine Harley Davidson parts and motor clothes. Hit these guys up on Instagram, House of Harley, and they can answer any questions you have. And don't forget to check out houseofharley.com. My guys over at Lexan Moto continue to deliver top-notch quality products backed by the best customer service in the industry. The G16 is Lexan's flagship Bluetooth headset. It has a 16-rider comm system, music sharing, and the high-end Bluetooth 5.0 technology. Lexan has always been known for having some of the loudest speakers and longest battery life available. Head on over to lexan-moto.com where you can see all the awesome products and where you can drop the Fast Life offer code, which will save you 15% on all your purchases. Follow Lexan on Instagram at Lexan Moto and stay up with all things Lexan. Thundermax EFI is your simple solution to getting the optimal tune for your Harley Davidson. A Thundermax tuner gives you the ability to add engine upgrades without having to find and schedule a dyno tune. And I've been running their computers on all my fuel-injected bikes since 2012. If you're riding an M8 touring model, then they have a simple solution to the high temperatures these models produce, their oil cooler fan. A simple plug-and-play solution to cool off the operating temperature on your M8 bagger. And if you're looking for a high-performing yet comfortable rear suspension, take a look at their iRide rear suspension and all the other products Thundermax has to offer at shoptmax.com. You can save yourself 10% by dropping the Fast Life offer code at checkout, which will go a long way on their products. And lastly, give these guys a follow on Instagram at Thundermax EFI. I have been running Electric Lighting Co. on all my Road Glides over this past year, and I'm a big fan of the looks and improved visibility I get from the shark tooth headlight. I'm also digging the 5-year warranty on the 15 different headlight options you can find for your Harley Davidson. And fresh on the market is their new red, blue, or gold LED headlight option, available in the 5 3/4 inch light and a 7-inch option, which comes with a full LED halo. Take a look at namscustomcycleproducts.com where you can find tons of LED lighting options in direct plug-and-play or custom applications. And lastly, drop the FL 2021 offer code to get free shipping on orders over $50 over at namscustomcycleproducts.com. S&S Cycles needs no introduction. Their high-performance engine components have been helping V-twins go faster since 1958. From exhaust systems to air intakes and everything in between, S&S has your back with everything you need to crank out some reliable power from your engine. Find out more what they have to offer for your V-twin over at sscycle.com. Also, you can catch their Performance Times podcast where they talk about their products and everything around the motorcycle industry. And lastly, give these guys a follow if you're not already at S&S Cycles over on Instagram. Now let's get into this episode with Dave and Jon from S&S Cycles.
Hey guys, you ready to let the dogs out?
Fast Life Podcast.
Welcome, guys.
Hey.
I don't know what to do with my hands. Thank you.
There you go. You know, Ricky Bobby there.
No, it's cool, man. S&S. We've been talking for about almost a year now. Well, I wouldn't say a year. Probably, what would you say? 6 months, 8 months?
Oh, probably 8. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, since you guys, when did y'all first release y'all's first podcast?
Oh, I don't even know.
I don't even know either.
So we just did 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would say it's probably like around the 10 months, actually.
I don't even know.
I think it's around there, like 9-10 months.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yep.
And that's done pretty well. I've always said since I started doing these podcasts that basically I thought that at some point in the future, every brand is going to have to almost have their own podcast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially when you're the size of y'all's brand and as much history as you have in the motorcycle industry, like you just have so much content that you can divulge in your place with all the racing, with all the, I mean, you literally have a blanket over every aspect of the motorcycle industry.
I don't know about every, but a lot. Yeah.
I mean, you're not in the tire game, but for the rest of the shit.
No, there's a lot. No, you know, obviously we don't do a ton on dirt.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But it's, you know, the podcast stuff, you know, I've been a big podcast guy for years. I lived in Southern California and you did a lot of time commuting.
Yeah, yeah.
So podcasts were kind of like this go-to. When shows went away in 20, you know, you realize you didn't have a touch point to your customer anymore. Mm-hmm. Like you didn't get a chance to really talk to that guy. And podcast is kind of one way, but you know, at least you're kind of still talking to the guy.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's what inspired it. And we said, yeah, there's got to be a way to keep that connection going. And we listened to you, we listened to a bunch of the guys, Jason, you know,
Yeah.
said, let's try that. And Jon and I gave it a go. And, you know, I think we had kind of nominal expectations.
I would say.
Right? We're all, hey, this might go really sideways. It might be terrible. And, you know, we did the first take.
Yeah. We did
And we finished it
Yeah.
and we were kind of staring at each other like going, I think this might work.
Yeah. Isn't that weird that like when you break it down, a podcast is just a conversation that you could literally have in the parking lot.
Kind of, yeah.
You know, on your lunch break or whatever. And all of a sudden now it's, you know, in some aspects it's monetized. It's like,
totally. Well, yeah, yes and no.
maybe not like directly monetized on y'all's end, but monetized in the fact that it's helping promote what you guys do as a brand.
Totally. And, you know, and our podcast, unlike yours, really, I don't want to say has an agenda, but it is brand centric.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So, I mean, that's our whole focus was to talk about the brand.
Well, that makes sense. Like I said, because you have so many aspects. I mean, the podcast I heard today, you're talking about flat track, you're talking about custom motorcycles at Born Free, and you know, you didn't get too much into the Bagger Racing League and the Moto America stuff, but that's
prior ones up. We did.
Yeah.
So we're like in between races. So the one you probably just listened to was a couple after the most recent race.
Yeah. Well, and it was a lot of Born Free content too.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yep. No, so that would have had Cody and Matt on it, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying, man. It's brands like yourselves, you know, and that's a good point you just made about when the shows kind of died last year. You know, you needed a way to connect with your customer.
It was huge. It was really a big deal for us. You know, we thrive on that.
Yeah.
You know, you don't talk to your customer. I don't know. I think you lose your way as a brand.
Well, I think a lot of people also have resorted to just talking to them through social media, and it's really hard to.
We're already doing that, though. I mean, that wasn't. That's a daily conversation, right? We get somewhere around 1,000 DMs a month. You know, and it's tech support. It's, does this fit that, or I bought this, or that kind of stuff. But there's something about sharing the news, sharing what's going on inside the brand. You know, we have, and then with podcasts, the opportunity to bring in other people. Yeah. So we brought in some neat guys. We brought in like Born Free guys. We brought in some race people, and and it's been those are great conversations to have.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys just recently popped up with the ATV market as well, and started doing stuff with that.
Yeah.
And so that's a completely different animal in a sense. But
it's interesting. It's different, but it's the same guy.
Yeah.
We first a couple years back we said we want to be in the UTV space. Like it's just a fun space.
It blew up. It blew up really quick.
It's got a performance component to it. You know, the guy cares about going fast, so that's our guy.
It's got a big wheel bagger component to it too.
Oh, well, only in the South.
Fair enough. In the South, it is
only in the South. The rest of the country doesn't want implement wheels on their UTVs.
He's saying boogie lights, by the way.
Those guys are so fun. We've done a couple of events with the guys in the South,
Yeah.
And they're legit. Those dudes know how to party.
They're like rednecks with paychecks.
They are
stuff.
so good. They are so fun. So, but it was a good fit for us. When we started looking at it, we're all, well, we'll probably develop another brand to kind of attack the market, because is S&S really valid in in the UTV space?
Yeah.
And the more we talk to guys, the more we realize it's the same guy.
Yeah.
So we talked to a ton of dealers, and they're all, hey, number one traded in vehicle for a new UTV was a Harley. Like they said, hey, you need a bagger? Because we have a lot of them. So we're all, same guy. So
Well, they need a place to put more speakers.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Ow. That was
Oh,
rough, man.
I'm just taking care of my audience. They
That
know
was
how-
rough. So the UTV stuff been so damn fun.
Hey,
Yeah, up here it makes sense when you have this terrain and you have
Right,
a lot of
yeah.
land to
Yeah,
That's what I was
traverse.
going to say.
Yeah.
The back trails and stuff like that, just cruising around.
Yeah.
I mean, you won't know until you roll one. Like, you got to roll one
No,
to
see,
actually
yeah.
enjoy it.
We
you know?
bought one day 2. You rolled it?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So
And we got to say, I got to elaborate a little bit. It got off the ground.
yeah.
It was
So he
a
rolled
full
it.
roll.
He rolled it hard enough that the downside cage, so you rolled it to the right. So the right
Correct.
side cage didn't touch the ground.
Yep.
Shit.
So it was
Yeah.
more of a barrel roll thing.
It was,
Yeah. It was it did $5,000 worth of damage or something.
Well, is it the one that was at y'all's booth
Yeah.
at the Texas? That thing's lifted up. Looks like it can.
Yeah.
it
and
didn't look like that. It was
and
stock.
And
when
it has a
was-
new
yeah,
roll cage
yeah.
on it for some reason.
It has a new roll cage.
Yeah. So
And it had to get new rims.
and rims and some
yeah.
suspension components. and-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, really
For a brand, though, I understand going into that market because
Oh, yeah.
with it growing as fast as it is, you kind of want to be on the ground level of that, of trying to develop products and
Mm-hmm.
growing with that part of the industry in a sense.
it's just a fun space to be in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's a neat enthusiasts. Like the guys are really cool. Every section of the country has their own jam.
Yeah.
Like the South does it completely different than guys in the Southwest.
We need more space for coolers.
Coolers and mud. So the
And mud.
South's obviously about mud, and like everything is about mud. And
Yeah,
this
yeah.
thing's got to be able to go under 4 feet of water.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like in the Southwest, I don't even know what water is.
Yeah.
You just want to
So-
see a dude with his neck sticking out of the water, and then like a couple seconds
That's-
later, a whole vehicle comes out, and then that's
If you
that's
go
called a
to
flex.
any of the high lifter events in the
Yeah.
South, that's pretty much it. So, which is each one of them does their own thing.
Yeah.
A guy in the Southwest is looking to be able to be matted on 3-foot whoops. Mm-hmm. A guy north or up here they're all trail guys. Mm-hmm. So it's each one's got their own jam, and they're all badass.
Yeah, that's good. So we're in. I guess this is how you say it, Viola.
Viola, yeah.
Wisconsin. I rode in here today, and I've already, I think, told all of you guys separately like how badass it is riding over here.
Thank you.
And it's such if you live in Wisconsin or in the surrounding areas, I guess you would know about this because of the terrain, like you were saying earlier.
So this is what's called the driftless area.
Yeah.
And it was created because the glaciers that flattened all of Iowa and Nebraska and everything else didn't make it here. Mm-hmm. So, and that's obviously, this is the longest time ago, right?
Yeah.
And then they melted off. And the melting created all of these canyons and rivers and twisties. And like, there's not a straight road around here.
Yeah.
No, there's not.
Yeah.
It's
Which
nice.
is really fun. So,
Well, just with all the trees, because I don't know which one of you guys I said it, but it was kind of like if Laconia and Sturgis had a baby, right? Because it's like a Black Hills kind of vibe, but it's also got the tree foliage of the New Hampshire area. So it's like, it's a really nice mix of things.
yeah.
And
it's actually really similar to Black Hills.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's weird about it, and this might, from the South, when you get rural like this, it gets real methy. You know what I mean?
I'm sure we have that somewhere.
But it's like all the houses out here that are kind of off the cuff, or off the beaten path. They're nice. They look like they have a farmland or something like that. It's
Yeah, the
not like
snow kills all the meth guys, I think.
Yeah, I think they can't survive.
Yeah, they can't survive it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
It's like it
actually-
kills the
They
mosquitoes
don't know how
off.
to winter. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
They go to Florida. No, it's a neat way of life.
Yeah.
Both John and I came out of California,
Yep.
like Orange County area, and said, you know what, this is a better way to have a family and to have a life.
I can see that out here. I really can.
It's good.
There was a town, I forget what it was called, that I came through, and I was like looking at all the houses and just the neighborhoods that you go through the center of town. You know, it's not a huge town, but
none of them are.
It's like, man, it's nice out here. It's like, I wonder, but that's also like I'm seeing it right now where it's like the perfect riding weather.
Yes.
Yeah.
And 2 months from now, whenever you're,
kind of
yeah.
No, it'll be white in a couple of months, and
it'll be white.
0 degrees, and that was the first winter here. Both of us are all, well, I guess we could die. That's part of we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
And you realize, because we didn't grow up in it, so snow's fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Like my family, we bought snowmobiles, and they're like I can ride a snowmobile out of my driveway into town, get gas, get lunch.
Wow.
Like it's kind of fun.
They're like little motorcycles.
They're like land jet skis more than they are anything else.
Yeah.
And do you take them on the roads out here, or how does that work?
No, there's trails everywhere.
Yeah,
the trails.
Yeah. Yeah, the roads actually are really well maintained out here.
Yeah, they are actually.
So the roads are really decent. They're well plowed, and there's rare that there's snow on the road unless it's snowing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But there's trails everywhere, and they're well maintained.
Yeah.
So
what about the ATV or the snowmobile market? You ain't thought about doing stuff in that?
No, no. That's
more of a dirt bike kind of motor, isn't it?
It's a really tough market, because it's so freaking seasonal. So that one's tough for us. So I think we're gonna stick with UTV and
stick for thing with wheels.
Yeah. That one's
right.
That one's more our guy. Snowmobile's a different guy
For sure. So how did like I said, I wanted to kind of dive into some of the backstory of S&S and things like that. And I got the tour down there. It was pretty well manicured. Like
we
timeline.
actually have a museum on site.
It's like going through IKEA. You ever been through there? You get to the kitchen area, and then you go.
That's the first time I've heard that.
That one's new. No, I don't
like
think
follow
it's
the path to the end.
I don't think it's like going through IKEA.
Eat a cafe in the middle.
The Swedish meatballs.
I brought you to the little cafe. You saw it. It is a crack up that we have a museum on site. In normal years, obviously the last couple have been kind of anomalies. We have hundreds of guys come through here every summer.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a good ride and a destination to stop in here, 100%. If you're a motorcycle guy, you definitely want to come see this.
We'll have like packs of 50 bikes show up here.
Yeah. A lot of times during Surges, they're coming through.
Yeah.
Florida, whatnot, and they come all the way up here, hit it.
Or they'll go to like Milwaukee and do that, the whole Harley thing and then slide through here.
Yeah. So obviously lately it's not so much, but the sales and marketing team is responsible for the tours. And there's times where it empties our departments out.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And it's what we showed you is really just the museum. The tour actually goes through the whole factory and goes, you see the whole facility. So right now we're pretty locked down.
Yeah. And so you were saying like, I don't really remember 100% because we talked about a lot of stuff downstairs, but he first got into the whole motor, or what was he doing?
Let's go back. So the company was formed in 58. Before that, George Smith, who is the founder, was a drag racer, and he was grudge racing.
What was the thing they would do on bikes back in that time to produce?
Big bore stroke.
Okay.
Random carburetor mods or carbs off of other bikes or equipment or tractors or whatever.
More gas, more air kind of things.
Yep. Typical, same thing you're doing now, obviously, just cruder.
Okay.
Yeah. So the first product that S&S made was push rods.
And I mean, why was that though? Because isn't the whole idea of a push rods just for the larger cam?
Because they were doing stroker motors was part of it.
See, I'm a painter, so
I'm
not stupid when it comes to that shit.
Yeah, it was just
It's all good.
It was a part that he could manufacture that, with kind of minimal machines and and that escalated. He was doing his own cranks for a long period there. And that's like he was having casting of the wheels done and then machining it and pressing it all together and and then at one point cast his own pistons, did his own cylinders. So
what was his like trade by day?
He was a tool and die guy, right?
Yeah, he was a tool and guy, but he also was really into airplanes. So so he knew how to work on them mechanically and every aspect of the airplane, even fly them.
Yeah.
So he took a lot of that knowledge and incorporated it in too.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So obviously reliability was key.
Yeah.
So airplane guys are much more into that.
Yeah, when I found out that they sometimes have Chevy motors in those things.
Actually, they have Volkswagen motors.
Volkswagen motors. Okay, so I'm like...
Yeah, they're airplane guys they're brave. Yeah, there's a whole sect to air-cooled Volkswagen motors and those things. And I wouldn't trust one of those cars to get around town, unless be 10,000 feet
exactly.
in the air.
And what is it, a paraglider? Yeah, with the
no, those are actually, some of those are even two-stroke.
where they got the engine right on their back.
Yeah.
I've seen them with Volkswagen motors.
Yeah, so that's he was big into that, and at the end of the day, he was a racer. He had the racer brain.
Yeah.
And it was all about making stuff go faster. And then, somebody else asked him to make something for them, and it escalated from there.
Yeah, that's how a lot of it starts, right?
Oh, totally.
You tune in your garage until your friends.
Didn't you become a painter probably because you had to paint for a buddy and then another buddy? And
well, yeah, I mean, I think so many things start in the garage. Like you just tinker on things, and then you see like just something in it that you want to pursue, and then next thing you know, your buddy wants it, and his buddy, and it was a side hustle for a really long time. The facility you're on right now was actually a farm. So there was cattle here. We had on our podcast, we had an employee recently retire. She'd been here 43 years. Wow.
So in the company 62. So she'd been here a long time, but not all the time.
Yeah.
And she's there'd be times where I couldn't come up the driveway because there was cows on it. So you just have to wait.
Yeah.
So you could hear them all day long. Like that was part of the deal. So some of the original guys, when they ran out of machine work to do for motorcycle parts, milked cows.
Wow.
Yeah. The original farmhouse is still here, which is pretty crazy because it's kind of a big 3-story building, that we're sitting in right now. And it overlooks the original farmhouse from probably late 1800s.
Yeah. It's that red one when you pull it up right there.
So our race mechanics actually use that house right now.
Nice.
So it's still doing its thing.
It's still active.
Yeah, which is the craziest dichotomy. So that house is right next to a facility that has a robotic dyno rider on it. So that house from 18, whatever the hell it was, is literally 10 feet from a dyno that's ridden by a robot for durability testing. So that's the dichotomy of this place. Yeah.
Well, I mean, just in general, like when you see all you have a thermal scanner for the door at the bottom or some shit. Yeah. And then you have a cafeteria with a thumbprint thing. It's
I bought a swatters with my thumb.
It seems like some government type shit where they would tuck it in the hills somewhere and have a whole lot.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Little aerospace somewhere other.
Little Area 51 over here.
Yeah, the ground didn't open up yet. We didn't show you the basement.
Yeah, it's the wild
Russians.
No Russians. We have a fish hatchery though.
Okay.
So we actually have a DNR fish hatchery on the property.
That's got a good blend of technology
it is the craziest dichotomy of new and old and technology and craftsmanship, and so it's a neat balance. Yeah, it's really a neat balance.
It's fascinating because there's not a whole lot of motorcycle, aftermarket companies that's been around for the kind of time that you have. That you probably know is more than I do.
Yeah,
so
not many.
Can you think of anybody that's been around?
Nessa's been around a pretty long time. I don't think quite this long.
Yeah.
I can't think of anybody.
I don't think anybody's been around since 58.
I don't think so.
I can't think of anybody that has.
No.
Yeah, Drag's been around since the 70s.
Yeah.
PM is the 70s.
No, everybody came in at that point in time.
Paco's probably been around a decent amount of time.
The 70s.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't think of any of that have been around.
I feel like a lot of them were created through that more 60s movement of motorcycles and clubs and choppers.
The original chopper craze. Yeah. That drove a ton of it. Because, you couldn't, to build a chopper, man, you needed parts. Like, unless you were a legit, fab guy, you didn't build a chopper.
Yeah.
You didn't cut the neck of a frame or try and build a long fork.
Yeah.
Unless you had real skills, which, really, at the end of the day, it's not everybody.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the welders and all those type of things probably weren't as. I mean, if you grew up in a really blue collar area like Milwaukee, where there's lots of, that kind of shit, then I would imagine that you probably got to get your hands on
accidental access to that type of stuff.
Your family member probably works in some kind of manufacturing of some sort somewhere, right?
Yeah, the original chopper craze probably drove a fair amount of the Harley aftermarket.
Yeah.
That's you could trace a lot of those guys back to that era, and that's really when this brand really, really started taking off.
Yeah.
When people start caring about making engines reliable and fast.
So was 58 when they opened doors, or what would you say?
That's when S&S was officially founded.
Okay. Right.
He was making parts prior to that.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and it was originally in Blue Island, Illinois. Yep. So, and it was him and a buddy. They were racing and building parts and kind of doing their thing. And it was in his basement originally.
He showed me the lathe down there that was like the original lathe. That's pretty badass.
That one's from the 60s, and it was literally, they took it apart to get into his basement, and then they took it apart again, transported it all the way out here, and I think it actually did duty here for a while, and now it actually lives in our museum. Yeah, we have that's funny, we have a bunch of the original equipment, which is kind of crazy to look at. We have the original desk so it was Margie was the wife, and she did a bunch of the books, and she did a bunch of, like, she would be on the floor working, she did tech support. She was pivotal to this business.
Nice.
So, which was pretty cool. It was definitely a family thing.
And you said that basically after the original partner kind of separated and went his own way.
He did, yeah. She took over.
She took over as the other S in S&S.
Yeah, right. So it was his last name was Stankos. So that was the original S&S. And then when he parted, it became Smith and Smith. But she was, she wasn't just doing books. She was a big part of it.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Her bike is downstairs. I mean,
need to get my wife on board.
Yeah, it was, and she was here until '80s, probably. Yeah. She was here for the duration.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, as I would think that y'all's brand is kind of it rides the wave of the motorcycle industry in a sense, right? Like when Harley comes out with a new bike or Indian pops back on the scene, like you guys got your work cut out for you to kind of create and find your spot in the new markets as they come and evolve.
Yeah. I don't know if it's new markets, new bike. Yeah. I mean, we've got a sports dress on the way.
Yep.
So yeah, it's every time there's a new motor family or a new bike or a new something, we'll chase it, see what we can do to it.
Yeah. And so in the 80s, you guys were doing mainly the push rod still, the carburetors were a big thing, and big bore kits.
Air cleaners.
Air cleaners, that's right.
The E and G carburetors were pretty huge back then.
Yeah.
We actually had a twin throat carburetor mid 80s. That was kind of a revolutionary deal. So that was a whole different style of carburetor.
It was always like one of those things, like, I mean, looking at it from here back, it's like if you got a Harley, like if you threw a Super E on there, like you'd get more power out of that, and you pair that up with an ignition, and bam, you got a nice little decent
little open pipe,
pep,
Yeah, your horsepower gain as a percentage with mods like that back then was huge.
Yeah,
that motor had a ton in it. So.
And fairly not a lot of investment either. Like you're not dropping $5,000 on that shit. Most of the bikes were probably $5,000.
Yeah, right. Different dollars for the age.
Yeah.
It was still not terribly expensive. Your challenge was tuning it back then. You got to find the guy that could figure it all out, and that's really where the E-carb kind of changed the game because it was such an easily tunable carburetor. Like we have how-to videos on YouTube. Zillions of those things. Our most popular video to date is how to tune your E-carb.
Yep.
And it's
still
not even
popular.
that long. It's not even that long.
It's still a popular carb now. I mean,
totally. First thing I did when I got here is build a bike, and I followed our directions on how to tune an E-carb. And I got to know if this works.
Yeah.
Totally did. Completely did. So that bike had never had an E-carb on it. I went in and jetted it based on the baseline. Went in, adjusted the mixture screws, and set it all up, and rode the bike.
Real simple.
Yeah.
It's kind of like this board right here that makes podcasting for dummies, right? It's like you just.
Are we recording?
I mean, I run the same one at my shop, so don't get me wrong. But as things grow, like things become more accessible for people, and it's like if you want to sell a product, like you don't want it to be so complicated to tune and understand that you have to find that one guy in town that's got a beard down here.
And newer stuff's starting to go that direction. You know, as everything kind of becomes computer controlled, a lot of sensors in it, that's the way of the world.
Yeah.
There's still plenty of like down just stuff like that where you can pull a tune down, install it on your bike and make it all work. But it gets more and more complex. So it is what it is. I don't mind that. A little technology doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I've said on the podcast many times, now that podcasting in general has grown so much, that these brands are making much more easier interfaces. Because same thing is happening with live streaming. Live streaming is a kind of a complicated thing to get into if you don't know a lot of computer nerd stuff. So they have all these new things now, so it's kind of becoming plug and play with more people doing videos.
We've chickened out on live streaming. We've not done any of that yet.
No.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see us.
Yeah, well, that on top of that, we also decided because the original deal is we were going to do video.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we both decided maybe we were
complicated.
face for radio, and we said we'll stick with podcasting.
I mean, the audio side of it is fine. I mean, most people consume podcasts through the earphones, not through a visual thing.
Totally. Yeah, we got like Jon kind of comes from a background of doing this, so it was an easy transition into running a board and setting that up. So actually, this is the first one where you haven't run a board.
Yeah.
Feel weird freaking out over there?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm fine.
What are you doing over there?
Yeah.
He's playing with the buttons.
Yeah.
No, I got the same one at the shop. So this is the one I run in my studio. I have a little bitty recorder that's actually designed for like audio band recording that you would kind of plug in and run a couple microphones into a small little.
Oh, yeah. And that's what you're recording too?
Yeah, like I can record into it, or I can connect to the computer and use it as an audio interface. But it's small.
Yeah,
it's like literally the size.
And you're
of this
recording to your computer here
right now. Yeah, straight into it.
Nice.
So
you hijacked our board and you're recording into your computer.
I figured you processing the sound in there.
Yeah.
You know, it's just I
figured you guys already had all this stuff set up, so I just left all the microphones and shit in my bike.
I see.
And just brought the laptop up here.
Oh, well, you got lucky because it actually worked. Actually, we just added the third mic too.
For real?
Yeah, because it's just been Jon and I until recently.
Yeah.
So now we're going to start opening it up because you couldn't really have anybody here. Mm-hmm. So now that things are kind of starting to open up a little bit, I think we're going to have. I don't know if we'll be as all guest centric as you, but we have the opportunity to do it.
Well, I mean, like we said at the beginning of the podcast, you guys have a lot more going on that can fill the people's ear holes for an hour, as opposed to me like. I'm waiting on paint to dry. Yeah. Like there's nothing else to talk about. So,
that is a interesting description. Waiting on paint to dry. Yep. No, we got shit going on. And it's usually for us like we get worried around winter. So we don't have events or anything to talk about. But we've got new products. Or we got whatever goofball bikes we're building, and both Jon and I always have something on the bench that we're building.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Sometimes going well, sometimes not so much.
Oh yeah.
So how do you like having the winter as like all right, I can take my bike apart without having
I dig it. Yeah, I totally dig it. Yeah, and it's actually, if you had to go, hey, how did a California boy figure out how to live happily in Wisconsin?
Yeah.
That's it. I love building shit, right?
Yeah.
So, and you really don't have a lot of choice. Mm-hmm. When it's zero, and maybe you've done the snowmobile trip, or I like fat biking.
Yeah.
So you're doing a little mountain biking. What else you got going on? And I have a big old heated garage, or we have a shop. We have a shop that's just for marketing's team to build bikes in.
Nice.
And there's something about like this is build season. And it's I don't care what kind of temperature it is. In fact, I almost encourage it because no one's going to talk to me. No one's going to come over. You're just building stuff, and I really dig it.
Yeah, that's the hardest part about being in Dallas because we can ride all year.
Yeah,
we do have a couple
the same way,
and so like as soon as you take your bike apart to build it or customize it or whatever, you're like, "Fuck, it's 70 degrees this weekend." It's like
I messed up the first summer here because I just liked building stuff, so I didn't realize it was seasonal.
Yeah.
So I had stuff apart my first summer. Kind of screwed my summer. I was borrowing bikes from the company. Yeah. So you're all, okay, well, all right, we got to do this a little differently. But it is a clear delineation, man. It is build season or ride season. And you don't mix them.
Yeah.
So it's, for me, I don't know, it kind of works. I don't know if it's for everybody's cup of tea, but I really dig it.
Well, it's like a forced vacation.
It's not forced, man. It's opportunistic.
Okay.
Right? Where you're just going, okay, nothing else is going to distract me because you're totally focused. Yeah. It's like you're totally focused on ride season. You are totally focused on build because there's no, hey, I got a ride coming up this week, I got to get this done.
Yeah.
You have a ride coming up in June.
So you have patience up here is what happens. Like, it's a virtue that comes with.
So if you want to get into, Jon did a chopper build last season that was ground up. Like he had freaking all winter to do it, and do it right. And, so it was good. So you have that time.
So what do you find yourself more into these days? The chopper stuff still, or she got that nice little 130. Don't you have the 131 Road King?
The Road King, yeah. I was actually downstairs messing with that. We got new calipers for it. So I was, the MJK calipers. Those are nice little calipers.
Yeah.
Thank you, MJK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you don't listen to this.
No, but I'm just saying.
We're not on good terms.
Nice, man. I was down there checking them out. I'm like, damn, those are nice. Honestly, I don't have favorite right now. Like winter's coming. I know, but I got a Sportster I'm going to build, ripping the Dyna back down, and I have the Road King. It's an M8, so I have all variations.
Two Sportsters you want to build?
Yeah,
we're just talking about, because like right now you're kind of talking about winter build stuff.
Yeah,
and you're kind of collecting parts, putting a plan together. You don't want to waste a ton of winter trying to figure out what your deal is.
Yeah.
So you're kind of thinking about it, So you got a tracker.
Yeah,
a scrambler Sportster.
No, I got a scrambler Sportster, and then I have enough parts right now to build a Sportster of some sort.
Yeah,
which
that's right.
could be whatever I want it to be. Yeah.
It's a very modular bike.
Exactly.
A lot of directions.
Awesome, yeah.
So back to your chopper point, maybe I'll end up building a Sportster chopper. I don't know.
I can see it. Yeah, that'd be a fun bike. Yeah. So then he did a Dyna. Last season before last?
No, it was the same time. Last season, I was building the Dyna and the chopper simultaneously last year.
So that one, that Dyna came out really good.
Yeah.
And then he did a shovel, which came out really damn good.
Yeah.
And it was a bike that was floating around that was pretty dated. So he took it back to our little secret lair and gutted it and came up with this evil plan and built a bike out of it. So that one came out. Actually, that kind of sort of debuted at Born Free just recently.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I did a Sportster tracker that John started it, got it as a roller. Then I took it home, finished it. So that one, we got to heat cycle that one. I got to finish that.
Yeah, it fires over. It
was that Sportster motor I showed you in our museum.
Yeah.
So it's 110 plus horsepower Sportster motor. So it's 1700 cc.
So there's still any of those available? Because you said you can't.
They're gone.
Last one's in that spike. So that's the end of that. Yeah.
That's why we built that bike.
Yeah.
We grabbed the last one real quick.
That was kind of the tribute to that.
Yeah.
And it's a drag race motor or a soft light motor. It's not designed for street, but
it is not designed for street.
So fun.
Yeah.
So that one, the last winter,
they're pretty gnarly to ride.
Yeah, last winter I did that one. So this winter I've got a Dyna that I half-ass started and looked at last winter.
I got like almost all the parts.
I know.
For you.
So John tortures me. We had a buddy that had a roller, so I bought it really cheap. We got some motors laying around, obviously,
Got him a motor, got him rims, got him
right.
fairing.
So he's all, I got you, and he starts collecting
this.
parts for me, and I got distracted by something else. I haven't touched it. So that one goes to my house because that one's in our little secret shop. That one goes to my house next month, and I'll spend the winter building that.
Nice.
So and I cannot decide what I'm going to do with it. So I'm going through like a gray phase. So I'm thinking it'll be like battleship gray, kind of club style-y. And then I get bored with that, and I don't know. So I don't even know what it's going to be yet. So it'll be fast.
Out here, like I said, just cruising in on this. I think it was 58 is what it is.
Yep.
Like I could see myself riding about 6 different types of bikes and enjoying that road.
It doesn't suck.
No, it doesn't.
You know,
Yeah, it does.
and I wasn't. It's got some good like hills and curves. But I just wanted to cruise it. You know what I'm saying?
It is a beautiful road. Now, you can run it stupid fast.
Oh, yeah.
You can run it just checking out the view.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it, so you're kind of hitting fun season right now. Leaves are turning. It's really pretty.
That's what I was telling you.
Yeah, it is gorgeous country.
So like I was telling Cody, right? I was telling him when I was coming through, some of the trees would overhang, the leaves would come down. Yeah. And it felt like a car commercial, like
totally.
when you're driving through the leaves.
It looks it.
Yeah, and it starts spreading out.
Yeah. I was like, shit, I need to video this somehow.
No, it's good. Right now fall's really trip because this place is not screwing out seasons.
No, you can see it happen.
Yeah, it was only a couple weeks ago. It was probably 90, and everything was green.
How quickly do the leaves fall?
Pretty fast.
Pretty fast.
Not even 30 days?
Yeah, I think at the end of the month it would be pretty much.
Yeah, they actually track the peak of it.
For real?
Yeah, there's it's on the news of how the colors of the leaves peak, and it starts north of us and then comes south.
Yeah, there was some spots. I think it was yesterday. I was coming through like northern Illinois. You'd hit some like really bright red trees and shit.
Yeah, oh totally.
I was like, God damn, that's what they mean. Because I've never been up here during.
No, it's legit.
This late.
It's
in
legit
the season.
And then it all falls on the ground.
Yep, and they all look like they're dead.
And everything looks like it's dead for a little while.
Yeah,
and it's the in between seasons here is not great. Okay. Like, because fall is gorgeous, winter's really pretty, summer's gorgeous. In between them is not as cool. So, like, everything's going to be dead looking here until it gets the first snow. Okay. And this place covered in snow is gorgeous.
Does it not get depressing, though? Like, when your environment's kind of...
So I don't know.
Well, you just got to find activities, hobbies. You know what I mean? You got to keep yourself busy. You got to plan for it. So,
like, if you have, like, 10 days straight of rain in Dallas, like... I got to keep razors away from me.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah,
But-
I can see that. You know,
we anticipate it coming.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah,
it's like you go hog wild in the summer, going out doing all outdoor things,
Yeah.
right?
Gotta
Get
be
it out of your
Y'all
system.
get out a lot anyway with doing events all over the country, so you get immersed in everything.
And then so like you literally don't do any of your house projects or your bike builds
It's
or
true.
anything like that in the summertime. And
Some
then
angry
when winter
wives.
comes, and it's like I have all these projects I got to do.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
in the South, I guess we do spring cleaning. You guys do it in the wintertime, basically, get everything dialed in.
You're not doing anything outside as much, but
Yeah.
you're doing all that inside stuff during the winter.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's build season, man. It is clearly build season.
You don't do anything outside.
Yeah.
It's like if once it hits 0, you're like, cool, I'm not going outside.
The upside is there's no yard work. So
Yeah, that's good.
you're not mowing or anything. So,
Yeah.
no bugs.
Yeah, talk about yard
No.
work. That was a funny thing. When I first moved here, I asked the realtor, I said, where's the sprinklers at for the lawn?
Yeah.
And he started laughing at me. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, I don't get it. And he's like, yeah, you don't need it around here.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah, it literally, it rains enough, it's wet enough, and then the snow comes, it saturates
you
the
don't
ground
even-
so well that
you don't
you're
even
like,
think about it.
you
Yeah.
don't even do anything. Yeah.
That makes sense because, being from California like you guys are, I imagine like that's a must.
Oh yeah, you got.
My wife's from Southern California too, so we're out there quite a bit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And
No, your shit will be dead.
Yeah,
In a
it'll be
week.
brown. Like
In a
it's
week.
burnt and it won't come back.
Yeah, one corner
Yeah.
of your yard sprinkler goes bad, it's dead in a week.
Yeah.
You're
shit.
all, sprinkler went out. You know.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, and here it's totally different. So, it's pretty cool. So,
yeah, it's I really like it up here, like especially Milwaukee. Like I love the neighborhoods. I love that you go in these small towns still, and they still have like a pub.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
totally. Yeah.
And I'm like, that's fucking cool.
Like time stops in small town America.
Yeah.
It's a trip. I mean, time just stops. And there's all these crazy little towns, and they each got their own kind of flavor.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you did some riding like what you just did, so you're cruising across Midwest,
Mm-hmm.
and it's it's fields, then it's a cool little town, and like in each town, it's got its own little jam. Then
Yeah.
it's then it's fields or twisties or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's another cool little town, and it's a fun way to ride. It's definitely a fun way to ride.
Even though there is a lot of farmland out here, it's because of the terrain the way it is. It doesn't feel
It's not
flat
like going
and
through
straight.
Iowa.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not right
No
in the
offense to
90
Iowa
to
guys. Love your Iowa guys.
Sturgis, like that Sturgis ride is like straight
Yeah.
forever. straight,
that was a bummer for us. So coming from the west to Sturgis is an epic ride.
Yep.
It is so good.
Go through the Rockies.
Utah, Colorado. It is just the most gorgeous
Yeah.
ride. And it's days. It takes time. Here I'm looking at the map. It's 10 hours thinking I could do that in a day. It's terrible.
No, it's hard to do in a day because it's so straight.
Oh, it's just
Yeah,
terrible.
you
It is
fucking
one highway.
You lose your mind.
You
You're
get
just like-
on 90 and you pretty much just go west. So like it's really not fun.
So there's 5 states that I haven't ridden yet in the United States: in Minnesota, Iowa, Idaho, Washington, and Oregon. Right? How is Minnesota? Like, how is their terrain? Is it
Minnesota's a little bit similar to what you're seeing right here, especially
and then
northern.
it flattens
Yeah,
out
it-
probably?
Yeah, northern, it's really good.
Yeah, northern Minnesota's
yeah.
really good.
Yeah,
Southern Minnesota's
is
pretty flat.
straight.
It's
Okay.
pretty flat.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's essentially what we're doing is the whole state of Minnesota to get to South Dakota,
Mm-hmm.
and the southern part of it is very flat.
No.
Yeah, but once you get up in the north area, like,
It's all woodsy like this.
yeah.
Does this kind of thing go all the way up north in
Canada.
Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Into Canada. Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of good riding up here. It's just fine. Like I was telling him, I was like, for us in Dallas and in Texas, it's not on the way to anything.
Nope. Well, unless you're going to Canada.
Exactly, and we,
Yes.
they won't
No.
let us in. So
No, that's a good point. No, no, it's actually not on the way to anything. And actually, there's a giant water barrier between us and the next state.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's not on the way.
So it's like if you really want to, you have to do a dedicated Midwest trip, and you could probably do a loop where you kind of come up here and then go into Michigan and loop back around.
Actually, the Great Lakes loop is supposed to be really good, and we've not done that one yet.
Yeah.
So you can circumnavigate Superior. So you actually have to go to Canada, but that is supposed to be an epic ride.
Yeah,
I'd love to do that one.
I wouldn't mind doing that either.
So,
But yeah, finding it,
we're on the
you
way
also have a
back.
window of opportunity with the time frame too. 'cause
You do.
when
do.
the snow's all gone and the roads are good to ride on, it's also when the show season starts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you have like event. So it's
Yep.
like hard to make one up here.
No, it's a tough time to You got to be here or justify being here or know you're going to spend some time here to get some riding in. I don't know. I think it's worth it.
So, I mean, like I said, you guys have so much history in racing and flat track. Y'all been killing it with that. Yeah. And y'all do more with the Indians on flat track, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
we actually don't do any Harley flat track.
No. What's really strange from the outside looking in with the FTR is when they were marketing that bike before it was released, so much marketing, and it's like, fuck that, we can't wait to see these on the road, right? And then they released it, and I think they had wiring problems or something with that bike out of the gate.
No, I think that it was they were still tuning it.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was something going on, and then you just never saw it anywhere.
Yeah,
at least in Texas, we didn't see anything.
Yeah, it delayed. I think they delayed the. I don't remember what the reason was. They delayed the release.
Yeah.
The end result, it's a killer bike.
Yeah, so I mean, all the specs, the price point, it's a fun got bike. Everything it needs to be a badass bike.
We've got a handful of them, and they're fun bikes.
Yeah,
they love the little twisties out here.
Yeah, they handle the corners very well.
Yeah, yeah, they're fun bikes.
When you get those, you really don't have to do much to it to really get it.
We do. We've got a couple of different exhausts. They want a little bit of a tune. They're rippers though. Yeah. They've got a newer one that's got 17s on it, so you can put some really sticky rubber on it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So yeah, they're fun bikes. Nice. They're definitely fun bikes. Yeah.
So what got you guys wanting to get into flat track in general? You know what I'm saying? Like,
it was a conversation with Indian. Mm-hmm. They wanted to do it. So and we have a great kind of OEM development relationship with Indian. King of the Baggers, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. We're part of their race development. I guess that we're their skunk works to a degree.
You're their Screaming Eagle?
Man.
Ooh.
That was rough.
Some guy in India right now just shivered.
Yeah. Right.
Well,
I don't know about that, but
I'm not Indian's best friend. So.
Well, we're big fans. Anyway, yeah, so that kind of, it started there, and they said, what would it take? Mm-hmm. We whiteboarded a bike. They have an engine development facility in Switzerland. Mm-hmm. So their engines are actually created or designed in Switzerland.
Nice. So it works. Right? It's
correct. They do a damn good job. These guys do not screw around.
Yeah.
So we kind of whiteboarded working with their engineering team, came up with, what would be the ideal kind of flat track chassis, what would be the ideal motor, down to the wheelbase. Mm-hmm. I still have a picture of the whiteboard when we kind of came up with the concept.
Nice.
They said, hey, let's do that. And we actually build the frames here. Mm-hmm. We bend the metal, powder coat it, weld it, the whole deal here. Mm-hmm. The motors are manufactured in their facility in Switzerland by hand. Mm-hmm. We make some of the internals. And then we do all the assembly. So the bikes are actually built here.
I feel like you guys need some competition.
Well, so does the American Flat Track.
Yeah, right.
So they just keep changing all the rules on us.
Well, it's evident. It's evident with what you guys have done with the Indian Challenger on the racetrack as well. It's like
we had an advantage. The original King of the Baggers type stuff. Mm-hmm. The guys, we came to it, wanting to race with an understanding of road racing. And that the original kind of series was more almost run what you brung-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we kind of had a head start. The Harleys are starting to go fast. So, credit to them. Yeah. So, but we came into it and understanding that road racing is about turning. It's not about a horsepower number.
Exactly.
Right.
And actually that's interesting. Our flat track bike doesn't make great horsepower by comparison. Mm-hmm. On the rare occasion somebody gets one, puts it on a dyno, they're all, that's it. So it's not about just horsepower numbers. It's about chassis. It's about where the power is made. Mm-hmm. And road racing was the same way. First thing we did with the Challenger, we dropped it on its side. Said, what hits ground first?
Okay.
And started eliminating things, raising the bike, changing the suspension. We didn't even open up the motor yet. It was all about the chassis.
Yeah.
And that's really what made all the difference in the very beginning of the bagger stuff. And everyone else is caught up. Everyone's kind of figuring that all out now. So, but it's in the beginning because it was the same deal. They started changing the rules on us. We get a weight punishment and a cubic inch punishment and all kinds of stuff. Hopefully that changes now that everyone's caught up.
Yeah.
But that's happening big time in flat track.
I mean, it was watching that first King of the Baggers, and I don't hate the Indian. So let me just preface that I do not hate it.
All right,
but it's always been just a fun ongoing joke with me and my friend Stav and Kyle.
Yeah.
And I got trolled a lot when the Indian Challenger first came out. People were like, "Oh, it's the perfect performance bagger." And, I'm a custom guy, so it was always I don't want to buy it already done. I want to spend an extra $20,000 on it. You know what I mean?
Well,
but
that's good because
you're
our customer.
Exactly.
Like that.
Watching that first race, and then when y'all's bike went off the track, I'm like, thank God. And then it catches up and wins. I was like, fuck me. So
we a ton of credit to Tyler, who's our racer. So that's kind of his home track.
Yeah.
And he got super confident on the bike, super fast.
Yeah.
But you don't know where the limits are on something like that.
Yeah, that was a test.
Totally. Oh my God, it was development. We had actually had him out here a couple times, and he was really, really patient with us because we're making this up as we go along, right? No one's raced a bagger, nonetheless a Indian bagger.
Yeah.
Like that bike was that was first year, right?
Right.
No one's done anything.
Fortunately, though, it's like because of COVID, they pushed that race back and gave everybody a little bit more time to
which was good.
R&D.
Yeah, we still didn't have a big field.
Yeah.
And it turns out making a bagger race is hard. Like that bike does not want to go around corners.
Yeah.
So you got to change the everything. And that's where Tyler came in.
The argument that most people have is like, well, why not just go buy a bike that's already ready for it? But I think the fun is making that thing that's not supposed to do that thing, that thing.
It is, there is something insane about a bagger backing it into a corner.
Yeah, it's badass.
Like, it's badass. It is.
It's something to see in person.
That's what I'm saying. So, that's the argument that I've tried to have with people. It's like, it doesn't have to make sense. It looks fucking fun.
It doesn't make sense.
And everybody has this thing in their garage.
Totally. It's super relatable because that's my bike, right? Mm-hmm. That's your bagger.
Kind of.
And, well,
in a way.
But now all of the crap, well, not all, a lot of the crap on those bikes, translates to your bike. Mm-hmm. Like bagger mids was kind of like who the hell's doing that?
Yeah.
Bagger mids rule.
Mm-hmm.
Like a bagger is a whole different beast when it's got mids on it. Like you're all, okay, I can do stuff on this bike now.
I enjoy
a bagger that's a little taller with suspension on it is a fun bike.
So my last bagger, I ran mid controls on that for a couple of years, and I love it. That's probably the thing I missed the most about the new bagger is because I was trying to do like some floorboards. I run the Thrashing floorboards, which has everything pulled back, which is a good alternative.
Yeah, totally,
100%. But mid controls, like for me, I had so much more confidence going into corners because I can lean further.
You can push on it.
You're also using your body to steer the bike.
Yeah.
Exactly, and you're always got your feet under you the whole time when you're racing or ripping hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It makes all the difference in controlling the bike. You're not along for the ride. Your
feet out in front of you are always kind of weird.
Yeah, it's hard to kind of have the confidence going in.
Big mile bikes, I like floorboards.
Yeah.
If I'm just going straight big miles, I like floorboards. You move feet around. You're not stuck in one position. You kind of keep your legs moving.
You're going across Oklahoma. That's great.
You don't have to move at all. You're like, oh shit, I was awake that whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the same token, like, you guys have the ability to make whatever you need to work with whatever you want. But for the consumer side of it, mid controls, there's not a standard position. So there's no standard position of exhaust systems.
Yeah.
There's no standard position of like a lot of aspects. A lot of the mid controls have issues with rear brake. We actually started bringing in everyone's mids. Yeah. So that we can wrap exhaust around them. And and it's one of those things that like that's honestly one of the biggest reasons why I didn't do mids on this one, and I'm regretting it. Yeah. Not like I said, I love my Thrashings. I'm not saying anything bad about those, but what I'm saying is just like once you go that direction with mid controls on a bagger, it's hard to go back to the other stuff. But it's that race stuff is kind of it's breeding like stuff like that. Suddenly a bagger guy really cares about performance brakes. Yep. And tunable suspension and, like a little bit of a lift. Mm-hmm. A bagger with 13, 14-inch shocks on the back of it. It's pretty common now. It's a whole different animal. Mm-hmm. Right. It's a whole different animal. You could see the transition over the last couple of years. Like I always use like Sturgis as a gauge, putting your finger in the air to see if it's going to, is it because it's going to rain you do that?
No,
that's wind.
Okay,
yeah.
There you go.
I'm talking about my ass.
Rain. That's usually for me, it's my knees.
It's the knee, we're going to get rain tonight. Yeah. But when you would go to Sturgis and you would see how much, how these pockets, you see a T-bar go by on a bag, you're like, okay, he gets it. Yeah. And then the next year there's like a group of them. Yeah. And the next thing you know, there's like tons of them. And you're like, who are you? Like, who let you in the club? You know what I mean? Like, because at one point in time in across America, everybody that had T-bars had an Instagram that said Glide on the back of it. It was
might have been
blah blah Glide. You know what I'm saying? So like you knew everybody in America that had T-bars on their bagger.
Yeah.
And that was into this style of bike or whatever the case. And now
you can figure the bulk of the people that go to Sturgis from the Midwest too.
Yeah.
It's
true.
probably 80-ish%.
Yeah.
Would you guess?
I would say.
Yeah. So when trends don't generally start in the Midwest.
They don't,
and
for sure.
I'm a gigantic Midwest fan now I live here. But end of the day, trends will generally on the coast and almost always California.
Yeah,
for sure. This,
New York,
yeah.
You know.
So it is what it is. So by the time a trend makes it to the Midwest, it's been around. You know, it's permeated the culture of the bike world.
So
and
what's really strange about that, I 100% agree. The thing that's crazy about last year is that side of the Rockies was shut down.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So not that they were like all in their houses scared, but there wasn't a lot of, for lack of a better word, content coming from the coast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Midwest finally got the front seat to like,
they got to represent a little bit.
oh shit, the camera's on us now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all my friends, all the people that I know on this side of the country, we rode our asses off last year.
Yeah.
All over the country. We were the super spreaders they talk about on the news.
Oh, that's
that's great.
That is
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
We both survived Sturgis 20
Twice.
and 21.
Yeah.
Like fingers crossed. You're like, hey, we're doing this. Oh,
Yeah. It's
no, it's if it makes it to the Midwest, it's already been around a little bit.
It has, for
so
sure.
when you see like a whole ton of some style in Sturgis, it's a thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's sticking.
Exactly. And that's exciting. I mean, it's a culmination of so many things coming together that's creating this new word for performance that we haven't came out with.
You can call it performance. It's okay. I know you
it's
have
just
resistance
weird.
to that.
It's weird.
I don't know why you're fighting that.
Well,
okay.
now, I was talking with my buddy the other night, and I was like, now we kind of, like, my bagger is not a performance bagger anymore compared to what is a performance bagger now. Does that make sense?
T-bars, brakes, big motor?
Yeah, but
okay.
like
why is it not a performance bagger?
Well, just depending, like, how they're doing these bikes on the track.
There's levels now?
I feel like there is.
But you can't compare a bike that's built for track built for road.
Yeah.
Two different bikes. So you got a track bike, you got a road bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two different type of
so performances. I don't know. See, we don't get wadded up in the whole
It's smart because
nomenclature.
Now I'm fucking weird
is it
about
a
it.
performance bagger or is it not? I don't even know, right?
If it's got performance parts on it, it's a performance bagger.
You know, if and it's not just performance engine parts, and obviously we want it to be, but as soon as you wrap a performance motor in a performance chassis and performance suspension and performance brakes, it's a performance bagger, man.
Yeah.
If you've modded those parts to get around corners better,
Or if they have a big wheel on it.
I don't know if you're going to be doing
wheel on it.
You're not doing that much performance with the big wheels.
See, we got to be careful because he's got a history. He's got the thing with the big wheels.
It's just that place where
yeah,
I don't think you're taking corners very hard with the
well,
big
but
wheels.
you look at a performance bagger, it's got performance tires and performance wheels on it.
Yeah.
Like the one that John's building, it's got carbon fiber wheels and big sticky rubber on it. And you've unwound that premise by putting a 26 or whatever on it.
Yeah. So it's almost like you would change the geometry, the chassis, if you will, in a sense, and that's when it would kind of take you.
Yeah, but it's we don't.
Sorry, I brought it up, but I hate this subject.
I'm fighting you on it, man. At the end of the day, I think if you are building a bike to go around corners better and go straight better or whatever that is, you're building a perforance bagger. I don't have any problem with that.
I think somebody should build a perforance big wheel bagger.
I don't think that.
I would like to
I feel
see
like
that.
they have done.
I don't know if
people have used
attempted-
performance.
Are we
parts.
still asking for that though?
I want to see it. I want to see it hit some twisties. I want to see that thing. I want to see. No. I want to see it in the canyons back here. I want to see it hitting corners hard.
I feel like that.
I mean, it'll hit the corner hard.
Yeah,
it won't come back up.
I feel like that's going to make crunchy sound.
Yeah.
You're just gonna hear a lot of
somewhere. If you 15K of his paint is spread on the ground.
If you can be throwing your tunes out really hard and have boogie lights and then hitting that corner. I mean,
you've
come
just
on.
offended every big wheel guy that was fans of our brand.
Why not? Why not?
Sorry,
I
big wheel guy.
I feel like y'all should put LEDs on your race bikes.
Like underglow on the race bike. Oh, I like it.
I mean, hey, set trends, brother.
So when you cross the finish line, you just flick the light on.
Oh yeah, like a little light show. I don't think we're going to do that, Jason.
Flexing.
No, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. That's not happening.
It's not going to be that much more weight.
It's not happening.
It's like street.
Maybe it'll put you back where you're supposed to be weight wise.
Maybe
it's messed up.
It's like street
really
racing,
sensitive
though.
subject around here.
When you street race, you throw on your hazards if you win.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
I feel like that's probably not going to be popular, but okay. We can talk to the rules committee.
He flies through the finish line. Boom.
See what the AMA says. AMA is making us do all kinds of other crazy stuff. So we have to actually have a taillight on the bagger.
So AMA now, they're involved. Were they involved from the jump street of the Motor America and all this stuff?
They're still kind of like the rules committee.
Okay.
They're there for safety. They're there for everything else. They're not promoters, but they're there making sure everybody's safe.
But I mean, like, you had to have the first race to see what it's going to be.
Yeah.
In order to go ahead and start implementing rules.
The first race was part of a much bigger race.
Yeah.
It's Moto America, which is the promoter. Mm-hmm. But we were just at the first race, we were like a sideshow of that race.
Yeah, everybody was making fun.
And then we actually the first race was the best. So the Gixxer dudes just mocking us.
Yeah.
Just absolutely mocking the bagger racing,
Yeah. I know because I actually got to be there for that.
He's like standing there getting abused.
Yeah.
And
why are you here?
The first couple of laps, like everyone's all, hey, what's going on over there?
Well, once you saw, it was interesting because Tyler didn't go out first at that race.
So Tyler's our racer.
Yeah.
Tyler
O'Hara's our racer.
Tyler O'Hara, yeah. And he's on the Indian Challenger, right? And we're at Laguna Seca. And there's a couple other baggers that go out there. And when we were talking about the baggers, it was a lot of them were just plain stock. They might have done some modifications, but nobody actually went the distance,
Yeah.
And so they weren't going that fast. They couldn't lean into the corners. Yeah. And then all of a sudden Tyler goes out there and you just hear it all through the pits.
Yeah.
Like everybody started running, running to the fences. Like they ran to the fences to see if they could see him in the corners. Because he was laying it down that hard.
So that we didn't have an audience at that race. So if you were there, you were racing. You were part of a race team.
Yeah.
So the whole pit's on the wall.
Yeah.
Watching it go by, which was really fun. Because they were not stoked to see us. They were mostly making fun of us.
And to see a big ass bike like that come down that chicane on the back, and
then the lap time started dropping.
Like, what is happening right now?
And he was 130 something by the time he was done.
I don't remember.
What difference between that and versus some of
like a leader bike?
Yeah.
The leader bikes are that track are probably 20 seconds a lap faster. Mm-hmm. But those guys were predicting we were going to be doing 2 minutes plus laps. I think we were as fast as some of the smaller bore classes.
Yeah, we were. The whole thing was that we were going to take up too much time because we were going to be too slow.
Or oil their track down.
Exactly.
That was, at the end of the day, we melted down their social media.
Yeah. And
that series, and not patting S&S's back, but bagger racing in general, that series just made all the difference.
Yeah.
Who's going to a leader bike race right now? Like their audience stuff is okay. They're still enthusiasts, but it's not insane. And it absolutely melted down their social media.
I feel like it's like watching a prize fight. Like I had all my friends in our studio at the shop.
That's awesome.
We're playing it on the big screen, and it was an event, like legit event, because and the other thing is like seeing brands that you know what I mean? Like, man, I know the guys there, or I've met the guys at fucking Sturgis. I met the, Jon at Sturgis, and we talked, and now their team's out there racing. So there's this like connection to the industry, right? And then you get like the smaller brands that go out there, like the DTF bike on the that I guess won the last.
He won Utah.
Yeah, he won Utah.
And then when you see those kind of things out there, you're like, oh shit, like I know these brands, I know these people.
Oh, totally.
Yeah,
they're good dudes. Yeah, they're super good dudes.
Everybody's really good.
That is a neat bike.
Yeah,
and it's still right now. It's still kind of grassrootsy. Like the Harley guys, they don't really talk to us. But everyone else, we're kind of helping them out. Everybody's talking to everybody.
Yeah.
Like the Utah race that night, so many engines were swapped.
Yeah,
like dudes on the PA. Does anybody have a twin cam? Like complete engine. Like it was pretty cool.
I could have made some money out there.
Yeah,
if only we had known.
I know, right?
If only we had known.
Just, take a couple of engines with us.
Yeah, it's still grassrootsy.
And I don't know where to sell my takeout 114.
It might be too late. I don't know if 114 is even enough anymore.
Yeah.
But that was kind of fun,
Yeah.
So but we were the sideshow. That first race, man, they were mocking us. They had no time for our nonsense. Mm-hmm. And by the end of that race, Moto America, who the promoter is, was a completely different deal.
Yeah.
In fact, we just did a test with them in Florida. They said, okay, well, what's next? Let's put them on the banks of Daytona. So they had tire guys come out. They brought us and Harley out and said, let's do this, keep it safe. Banks of Daytona are a thing. You have G-forces that on a normal motorcycle actually collapses the suspension.
Serious?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
It pushes you that hard.
Yeah. Like it changes stuff that doesn't normally change, that you have to compensate for and still make a bike that works on the infield. Yeah. So it is no small task. I mean, it's a different motorcycle setup to run that track than any other track in the U.S.
Yeah.
So those banks are nutty.
I'm supposed to be in the pits on that one.
It'll be good.
Oh, it'll be good.
It'll be good.
Really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. You definitely want to. We'll be there.
Yeah.
They put us on the track. Both of us did really well.
Wow.
Did some good lap times. They pay real close attention, like tire temps and stuff like that. No bad things happened. Bikes did really well. So we're the 200 coming up in March.
Yep.
We'll be part of that program.
That's exciting.
That's huge.
You know what I mean?
That is huge. Yeah.
It's exciting too because it's going to be at Daytona.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Good crowd, a lot of enthusiasts.
During bike week, you have all the excitement,
Yeah.
It kind of adds an element to an otherwise dying rally in a sense.
Yeah, I don't know if I would call Daytona die. Daytona goes through like cycles. I mean, I think they all do.
I think it's on a downtick right now.
So
Daytona's city's getting too big, in my opinion.
I don't know. The thing goes through cycles. Daytona for a while, like they'll embrace the rally. They're all about it.
Yeah.
And then you get like the local cities who are kind of over it, and they fight back. Challenge at Daytona it's not as fun to ride. Like Sturgis is a great riding event. Mm-hmm. Like you go spend the day and go ride places. We're gonna go in Daytona.
Froggies.
Like you've done the
Right.
right.
So
You've done the like you got to do the loop. You go do the loop. Hey, look, we saw some swamps and some gators.
Yeah.
And then what do you do?
Exactly.
Right. So you're just.
Well, I think that with the race coming there, and I it's gonna really make. I'm excited about the industry as a whole with the racing going on, and it's the parts development's going to come over the next year and a half.
It's nutty already.
It's going to be great.
Nutty. Yeah.
A lot of people got to figure it out, man. Like these are heavy bikes. Braking companies are having to figure this shit out.
Totally.
Suspension companies are having to figure it out.
Yeah. They're doing neat stuff with them. They're doing stuff that will absolutely translate to your bike.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And I am digging that. Like we have exhaust systems. We have stuff coming for the Challenger that are absolutely inspired by what we did on the track.
So how like I said, I'm a painter talking here, but like when the M8 came out, like there was so much room for improvement of what the motor was.
Yeah, sure.
This is what I'm understanding. I don't know. You might say, not really.
No, that's true. But
so
that's
it's like
typical of any OEM motor.
Yeah, so you take a cam and throw it in there, bam, you're in where you actually wish it just came from the factory.
No, we don't want it to come from the factory.
Yeah.
That's good. Just wait.
But fine. with the Challenger motor,
if you're listening, Harley, it's fine.
Do you feel like this? It's the same boat where it's like a very, very base platform that has a lot of potential.
It's different in a water cooled motor.
Yeah.
You're to go big bore in a water cooled motor is a little bit more complicated.
Yeah.
Indians actually already got their own big bore kit program going that we're kind of helping support. So it's a different animal. As soon as you do legit water cooling, where you water cool the cylinders as well, it becomes different. There's opportunity for cams, opportunity for other stuff, for sure.
Do cams and water cooled motor make such a significant difference the way they do in a traditional?
Yeah, actually that was we were already developing a stage 2 cam with Indian when that first event happened, and that's what that bike ran.
For real?
Oh yeah,
nice.
Yeah, so it makes all the difference.
What about the rest of the motor and the primary and the tranny? Is it pretty?
It's pretty durable. Yeah,
pretty durable.
We have not been able to hurt much. Clutches are pretty typically, as soon as you apply big power, they melt. But that motor is actually weirdly durable. That's a crazy chassis too. The motor's a stress member of it, so it's these cast pieces that bolt to it.
Yeah.
So to look at it without bodywork, without everything on it, you're all, what the hell is that thing?
Yeah, I get you saying.
It's a non-traditional. Very,
Yeah.
right. It's a very non-traditional chassis, at least for V-twin customs. So, but it translates very nicely to road racing.
Makes sense. I feel like that's what they're going to be doing with the Revolution Max.
Yeah.
How you said you got the Sportsters on the way, and they're going to start working on that.
Yep.
Like, how different do you feel like the industry's going to be in like 5 years with these water cooled motors coming out and the
it's more
direction of
electronics.
performance?
It's definitely going to be more electronics. And the exhaust is an exhaust. You know, and higher flow intake is still the same. You know, it's in and out. But you're definitely going to see more things that are based on electronics, on tuning. Yeah, and you know, that the EPA and CARB are kind of paying real close attention to that. If you're watching the car market, EPA has essentially decimated the diesel tuning space.
Yeah, I heard about that.
It's brutal. So, you know, you're going to have to do it in a way that stays compliant, which is totally doable. I mean, you know, you look at a Hellcat or, you know, these 800 horsepower cars come from the factory that way. So making power and still keeping it clean is totally doable.
Okay.
It's harder.
Good.
It's definitely harder.
Well, how's it been with you guys in dealing with the California shit, with the exhaust systems and all that stuff?
We have our own lab. We actually have a CARB certified lab in our other facility. So we build stuff specific to that. We designed our own cat. You know, we got to deal with all the nonsense that it takes to get something certified. You know, a compliant exhaust requires 15,000 kilometers of durability testing, which is why we're talking about the robot riders. That's what they do.
Oh, they just sit there and
they ride motorcycles.
It's like turning on the CM machine, going to lunch, and it just keeps going.
Yep. We literally check on them. We have cameras and monitors and everything, and these things do durability testing for emissions equipment. Yeah.
It's interesting because, like I said, with what I was sitting on that new Sportster yesterday at House of Harley, and I'm gonna ride it probably today or tomorrow.
Good. Let us know what you think. Feels. Yeah.
But and I say this, but not because I don't like it. It's just it feels very, when you're so used to Harley, when you're so used to yesterday's technology, right?
No, totally.
When you sit on the Sportster and the on-off switch, and then now you got your turn signals all on one handle. And
it's very traditional metric.
It just like throws you kind of off, and you're like, man, I don't know if I like all these buttons. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you should try the Pan America.
Yeah. I've ridden that. Yeah. Same thing.
Yeah, right. Like, you need a class.
So yeah. I rode the Livewire, and I was blown away by that.
Neat bike too.
And I was like, I mean, I guess you guys don't tune those here, huh?
Not yet. Not yet. You never know.
I need like a microchip division here.
We actually have an electronics division. We have a whole like area of just propeller heads.
Nice.
Yeah, you know, and that's, you look at how tuning and things like that are done, and digital is going to be part of performance going forward. So we're not afraid to tackle that as well.
You know, I rode it, the Suicide Machine Company. I rode theirs. And he was telling me, and he was really the guy that changed my mind on the Livewire. He goes, he's like, you might not want this bike, but all this technology in this bike is going to be in Harleys now. Oh, totally. And I was like, oh shit! Like there was a lot of technology in the screen and all the options, and now the Sportster has it.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to see a ton more of that. The dynamic suspension on the Pan America, so the thing drops down when you come to a stop.
Yeah.
My guess is you start seeing that in baggers pretty damn soon.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how you wouldn't. You know?
So I leaked a picture of the new Lowrider S is coming out next year a couple days ago. Yeah. And everybody's like, they want me to give them my source, but I can't do that. You know what I mean? But also that same source is, you know, sharing the information of the new touring models coming out in about a year and a half with the Revolution Max motor in it. Yeah. And I'm excited for it, but I was talking to my friend last night about it. He goes, "So you're gonna want one?" Because my goal with this current bike was fix it, ride it, and at the end of the year sell it, and then be ready for the new, water cooled bagger or whatever. But man, just like I said, those controls and that feeling,
the tactile feel is completely different. And that's kind of a challenge. Like even a vintage style a older Sportster. You know, it still feels very Harley. Yeah. You know, and you equate that dual turn signal, that fat grip, that kind of the tactile feel of the bike to being Harley.
I mean,
there isn't anything else that replicates that.
You definitely have more technology there at your fingertips that you feel like is worth the money you're spending, right?
It's not bad. It's just different.
It's just different. It's like an acceptance of
So you got to get your head around the fact that it has that more metric feel. It has a very much more metric motor. You know, it makes its power higher in the RPM range. Yeah. You know, it is a completely different animal than a down low torque bagger with big fat grips and really fat controls and stuff like that. Yeah. So good or bad? You know.
Like I said, I'm not hating it. Yeah. But I'm already seeing myself have to figure out how to adapt to it. Yeah. You know.
My guess is we're going to make it adapt to us.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like some of the younger generation that's getting into bikes, it'll be a much easier transition for them to get on those bikes.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. See, I like dual turn signals. I like big, I'm 6'2", so my hands are bigger. I like a fat grip. My hands cramp on small grip bikes. They actually cramp. So I really I physically fit better on the bike, whether you call it Harley, you call it whatever.
Yeah.
Like I physically fit better on the bike. Like a large motorcycle like that, I'm much more comfortable on it.
Yeah.
So for me, I struggle with that. And it isn't that it's new; it's that I physically just don't fit on it. So, the Indian, like the FTR, it sits pretty tall. So that one, you fit pretty good on it. But it is very metric style of controls.
Yeah.
Good or bad. The grips, my hands absolutely cramp on them.
Yeah.
And not, that's the more traditional grip. There's far more small grip bikes than large grip bikes. But, it's I think you make the bike adapt. Like if I had one of those full time to commute on, I would start changing stuff.
Yeah.
And I suspect the Sportsters start seeing that as well. Yes.
Yeah, I want to see how that, because the aftermarket's such a great beast in itself that once it gets its hand on the Sportster, it could completely change everything about it to where it's like, I didn't somebody carved out a really badass bike out of this turd. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that's the underbelly battle of the OEM versus aftermarket.
Yeah.
If you look at the most popular motorcycles ever, they had a massive aftermarket support. And if you ask the OEM guys, they're mortified why you would change their motorcycle.
Yeah.
That's why engineering teams spent hundreds of hours developing that motorcycle.
I do commend Indian on the fact that they understand that aspect of motorcycling, right?
Oh, totally.
So what was it, like 10 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, when they were trying to make a push for Indian again, they actually reached out to a lot of brands to make aftermarket parts like Dirty Bird and all. They wanted like those aftermarket body parts to fit that big wheel bagger community to try to get traction going.
They embrace it far more. I mean, Harley essentially just tries to do it themselves.
Yeah.
They said, "Screw you guys. We're just going to push you out of the picture."
Yeah, and that's like the thing that we don't like to talk about as Harley enthusiasts. Like that's just that one thing that they do that we don't like, but we don't speak on that.
That's how we do it.
But as far as Indian, I do commend them because it's accepting the true reality of what's going to happen. When you create a bike, brands like S&S and every other brand out there is going to get their hands on it. And if there's a bunch of brands sitting there right now going, man, should we invest in this?
Yeah.
S&S is doing it. Well, shit. You think it's going to be popular? And nobody wants to drop the R&D into something that flops.
Invest is exactly it, right? Yeah. You don't just throw a wheel together or throw an engine part together.
Yeah.
The R&D investment is insane. Like it's got to make sense for you to do it. You over time you have to sell X and many of those to justify the R&D.
Yeah.
And that's not the fun part of aftermarket, but at the end of the day, we're a company, man.
Yeah.
For us to be here tomorrow and to support the 300 people that rely on us for dinner, this stuff's got to work.
Yeah.
And that part has to actually sell, and that bike has to actually sell. There's plenty of bikes out there that guys have said, how come you don't build anything for my bike? And you're all, well, at the end of the day, your bike sold 900 units last year.
Yeah.
And that's not going to work.
The other thing that happens too is when things change in the model too quickly, right?
Yeah.
When
we're spoiled in the Harley space because every other market in the motorcycle space changes every couple of years dramatically. Yeah. And we've got
it didn't
Harley
used to
parts.
be that way though. Back in the early 2000s, a Gixxer, everything worked across the board.
Yeah,
every
Suzuki
model
did a good job because Suzuki, like a 600, a 750, and an 1100 back then, had interchangeable parts.
Yeah,
and then some of it fit on Busa.
Yeah, so you could get as crazy as it is, you can get so many parts, and from roughly 06, maybe 05, a lot of things interchanged.
So
Suzuki
actually is the smallest of the OEMs, and they did that actually by necessity.
And it created an aftermarket.
It helped, for sure. Yeah, right. So you had to invest in a swing arm. You knew it fit 3 different models across 5 years or 10 years, whatever that is.
Yeah.
You're more willing to do that.
So what I'm kind of alluding to is so for you as a brand to invest all the different things that you would have to do to create a head for a motor. You need to have more than one model with that head on it, and not 3 different heads for 3 different models.
So you figure what's casting cost on a head? It's probably $100,000.
Yeah, around there.
Yeah. So just keep that in mind. Easy for one shape, $100,000. Maybe you got a front and a rear.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, it's no small task. So it's got to make sense.
Yep.
And Harley kind of does their own thing, and they do their own head, which is a derivative of another head of theirs, and they have the volume there; they can make it make sense.
Yeah.
For us, you go, okay, we have X percentage of Harleys made use performance parts, or want to do that.
So you have to look at the number side of these bike sales to kind of
it's
help.
the less fun math part of this space. Yeah,
but that's a smart thing to do, to make sure that you don't invest $200,000 into something.
You wouldn't be around long.
Yeah,
you would not be around long.
So what about like with this new M8 or newish M8 now? Like, will we ever see like an S&S crate engine?
Are we allowed to tell him this? No. I can't comment on this question.
I'm pretty much sure that you couldn't do that, but I had to ask the question to get the answer I was looking for, which I got.
No comment.
But I mean, like with all the other products I see you guys just released the oil pressure.
It's an oil control valve. Yeah. It's actually, because we do so much durability testing here, we just run the piss out of engines. And that failed on us multiple times. And, we're doing extreme things to these things. But when that started getting wonky, like our tappet cuffs are a good example of that kind of stuff as well. As soon as we start putting big cams, the tappets have a plastic guides from the factory, which in a factory format, probably fine.
Yeah.
You do a big lift and there's torsional load on it. It rotated the tappet out of which you rotated a tappet, so does a roller that lives on top of a cam. So it's essentially a metal wheel rotating on top of your cam. If you change the angle of that as the cam goes across it, it makes metal.
Yeah.
Right. So like you definitely don't want that. So it's, because we torture these things so hard in controlled environments, things like that start kind of appearing. It's crazy how many of those things we do.
Yeah.
That's a fun product. And it's if the motor's apart and especially if you're doing cams, the tappet cuffs are $100 and something bucks. The new oil control valve is like $39.
Yeah.
Like you're insane not to do that.
Yeah, just for the peace of mind.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we ran into a lot of stud failures on tappets.
Yeah,
where you take it's a bolt from the factory, and you take it in and out a couple of times. The head strips, like the head fails. Like you throw the head away, you're bummed. All right. So we did a stud kit for that, so you'd never take that out again. Solve the problem. So we do a lot of stuff
Simple
like that.
Things like that. Yeah,
we do. It's funny because you think like we do a lot of big bore kits, a lot of big, really sexy parts. The ones that are not like tappets or bolts or things like that, we do an extraordinary amount of those things. They are really almost the fundamentals of this company.
Yeah, that's like
not sexy, but
I talked to when I got to sit down with Alloy Art, that was the same thing. Alloy Art makes so many parts, but those damn polyurethane bushings are the gold mine.
How many years they've been making those things?
Exactly. So. Yep. Yeah, there is that aspect that sometimes it's not the glorious things that make you successful.
It's not. Well, like I said, first product was push rods, man. You can't even see them. So it is what it is. But a well sorted engine, it's things like that start coming up. When you do big cams or you run high R's or big bore, it's sometimes not as simple as a bigger piston.
Yeah.
It starts revealing the weaknesses of parts around them. So, and we're not afraid to touch those as well.
It's needed though. I mean, there's a ton of brands that are in the motor space of Harley Davidson, right?
Oh, totally.
And but for a lot of people, the comfort of y'all's brand basically gives a lot of people the confidence to go in and start adding parts to their bikes.
In the internal parts, there isn't a ton of guys.
Yeah,
because it's really hard to do.
Yeah,
it's really expensive. It requires big machines. It's harder to do. And there's a durability function. Like I said, we do so much testing before a part ever gets out the door, where it's on some dude's bike. Like it has done thousands and thousands of miles here.
I mean, you guys had to market the 124 kit fairly quick after the M8s came out.
No,
it felt like it was quick.
I wish. I felt like it was really slow.
How long did it take?
It was longer than that.
Was it 2 years?
Yeah. It was almost 2 years. No, it was like a year. It was like a year and a half.
Yeah, I think it was a year and a half. Yeah. It was, for us, it felt like it was a really long time.
I mean, did you guys have like a quick, did you get one quick enough?
Oh, yeah, we had the bike immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had the bike within, and, Harley doesn't exactly give us bikes, right?
Yeah.
Like they're not looking to help us.
Yeah.
So we had a bike probably within a week or two of launch.
Yeah.
So we actually wait till the same time you could buy a bike, we buy a bike.
Yeah.
And we buy it. Like just like a normal schmo wanders into Harley, we buy a bike.
Yeah.
And we have bikes that have never seen the ground. Like they just live on dynos. Yeah, we have multiple bikes that
emission bikes only.
Right, they're just dyno horse. That's all they do. It's this, like we have a Road Glide Ultra that I think John and I are going to try and steal. I don't think this bike's ever been outside.
For real?
Yeah. You know what Road Glide Ultra costs?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we do the development from the same point that you could have bought that bike. And
Well, I guess because it was a new bike, like the M8 came out, there's kind of like a period of time where we don't really notice, because we know there's no aftermarket for it right when it comes out, right? Yeah. And then it's like by the time people get used to it, because I guess what overshadowed more than anything was the old sumping problem with M8s when it came out.
Yeah. It was
so that was kind of like the first problem that everybody needed to fix.
Yeah.
And, and it also put a stigma to totally 17s don't go for that much money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally. They're easily fixable?
Easily fixable, but there's still like that, maybe it wasn't just the cam plate or the oil pump or whatever.
It was a thing, and it was inconsistent.
Yeah.
Which made it even worse.
Yeah. I bought a 17 probably like 2 months after it came out. Yeah. And then all that stuff happened, and I was just kind of like, I think I'm going to sell it. I had my FXR at the time, so I was like, I like riding this one better anyway.
Yeah. It's actually a really solid motor.
Yeah.
So we've done wild things to that bottom end, and it stays together really well.
Yeah, our Road King is a 17.
For real?
Yeah. It was a 107.
Yeah, it's a 107. Now it's a 131.
Yeah.
What took, like, because originally it was a 124 kit was what you came out with, and then the
we did.
It was it's a 114.
We had a 114 and a 124 came out at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So it's 107 and 114 with a bigger bore.
Yeah.
So a 4/4 bore.
So is it just like, okay, we're going to push it to the 128 now and then the 131? Was that kind of...
For us, the decision on the final bore size is wall thickness.
Wall thickness, okay.
Yeah, wall thickness of the cylinder, which is limited obviously by the case.
Okay.
So we screw around with materials. Some materials are happier with thinner, some are not. Mm-hmm. Then you get into durability testing. Yeah. So, and then you go, okay, well, what'll it do? What'll it tolerate? Obviously you can't have any deformation. You can't have anything else.
When you do like y'all's 131 kit, is it something that like, and I'm asking this as a dumbass right now, so is it literally like just a bolt-on big board that you throw on, or is it recommended
to go?
The
131 kit is actually a crank. It's stroke.
Crank, stroke, okay.
Yeah, so that's a 4 5/8. Yeah, that's 4 5/8 stroke and 4/4 bore.
That's a little bit heavier. Like, so if you have a 107 or a 114 currently, you can get the 4-inch cylinder, and then you have a 124 or 128.
Yeah.
So that's a bolt-on situation.
Yeah.
So anything bigger than that, you're going to be splitting the case.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense.
Which is pretty typical. I mean, that's what we've done with every other family of engines out there.
And as far as like, what has been? I think I heard on your last podcast you guys were working on heads. Or
we actually have you actually listen to the podcast. That's fun. That's pretty well.
He was paying attention.
Wow. He did research. Yeah. We have a head porting program.
Yeah.
Using the factory
That's right. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. We're not ready to launch it yet, but that's right around the corner.
Well, what do you think about factory heads from Harley? I mean, I've heard numerous things where people say they flow really well from the factory.
They actually, the 4-valve head flows pretty decent.
Okay.
Yeah. It took us all this time to come up with something we're happy with.
Okay.
They're originally pretty stout the way they were.
Yeah. Their durability's good. There's some weak points on the head, but for the most part, it's actually.
Yeah, I mean, if you get put the studs in there and on the top part, and probably valves or valve springs.
Valves. Well, it depends on the lift of your cam, but for sure, valve springs. There's a couple other little pieces. The shafts on the rockers, the factory ones, are a weakness. So actually, that's what took out Alloy Art's bike on the first race.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
What did it do? It just
disintegrated. Made metal. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like if you put one of our 475 cams in a 107, stock 107 right now, the thing will rip and you can ride it everywhere.
And right. You don't even touch top end.
Yeah.
All my buddies that do all the traveling with me, they all bought this fucking cam. I say fucking cam.
Hey.
Because of a reason. It's like, Because it sounds so goddamn good.
It does, though. If you run a 2-1 pipe, especially
it
a long pipe,
so hard.
It's a thumper.
That's why I say fucking cam. Not that it's bad. I'm just like, you bought it because it sounded good. Not for, like, they didn't even know if it performed that.
But it does perform. It'll give you 100 horsepower, no problem.
Right, out of a 107.
Yeah.
The M8's an interesting kind of motor because it's quiet.
Yeah.
Like it idles at a lower RPM than any other Harley. You know, it is actually just a quieter, more efficient motor.
It's like a sewing machine.
Yeah, well, not about that, right?
It's pretty quiet.
It is quiet.
You ride the Sportster S.
Okay, that's the new version.
Yeah,
it's electronic sewing machine.
So the thing wants a little bit of lope, and the 475 is like a happy cam. But you know that cam, you don't have touch top end, doesn't want springs, doesn't want anything else.
Well, you know how all the Harley motors have that thump that just, that's an Evo, that's a shovel.
Yeah.
I feel like when you guys made that cam, it gave the M8 like a throaty beast.
Finally sounded like it's supposed to sound.
Like,
it's funny, we get that. So guys will walk up to us and say, I need you to make my Harley sound like a Harley. Like, we got you, man.
Well, it was funny, once again, on that podcast that I heard you guys say, one of your mail, the people that send mail in for it, was like, what's a cam that makes my bike sound good?
He wanted his which cam made his bikes louder or something.
And that one's, you get that question constantly at rallies.
It's a crack up.
They walk up, I want a cam. Okay. Yeah. Well, let's start about what kind of bike you have, and then what kind of style riding you are. Cams. Cams are great, and they'll do what you want to do, but you have to pick the right one for you.
Yeah. What do you think a horsepower cam? What type of riding you think is for that versus a torque cam? Because I would say the M8s are pretty torquey out of the box.
They're not bad.
Yeah.
So you almost want to build up the horsepower to meet.
It depends how you're riding, what you're riding.
Okay.
Your cam demand like on a soft tail, it's gonna be different than on a bagger.
Yeah.
If you're bagger, you're running 2 up. You're running a relatively base motor. Maybe you've got slip-ons. And that's a heavy bike. That thing's 900 pounds without people. That thing weighs with humans and gear and crap on it. It's all about torque.
Yep.
It is all about torque. And a guy like that, he's not wringing its neck. Yeah. You're riding at the bottom half of the RPM range.
You're staying like 1.5, 2 on the R's,
you put a cam in there that makes all its power top end, you can't even tell. You actually hurt the bottom end.
Yeah.
You made that bike slower.
Yeah.
Right. So then the guy the soft tail that's wringing its neck, like John's got like a heavy throttle wrist.
I might have one of those.
Everything's at the
I like how you looked me dead in the eye when you said that.
Yeah. So everything is the top half of the RPM range.
Yeah.
So he doesn't give a shit about that first half.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about torque.
No.
So it's really what you're riding, how you ride.
Well, that's why I wanted to ask that question, because I feel like a lot of people don't know what they need to try to get.
Oh, absolutely not.
It feels like so many people, including myself at times, I'm guilty of this. Like, you're chasing this horsepower number all the time,
totally.
And not associating it to how you ride your bike and how you're going to enjoy
it. We ask, guys just look at you like you're insane. Like you ask them where they ride.
Yeah.
Where in the RPM range do you ride?
And sometimes they don't even know.
Right, they won't even know. They're all, I don't know. You're all, wow, that's going to make this much harder.
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, I think that I always keep mine at least at 3,000 in that 3 to 35 range.
35 is like the happy spot.
That's normal. That's normal.
When I first bought my first new Harley, they said, you want to keep it in the 30.
Yeah, sure.
You don't want to lag the motor or lug the motor, whatever they call it.
If you're just going to the highway, right, almost everybody's kind of riding right there. Yeah. But where are you riding the rest of the time? When you get on the highway, are you wringing its neck? Or are you just loping on?
Yeah.
When you leave the light.
Right. So for me, I'm hitting, when I leave the light, I'm hitting 4, maybe 5 right off the bat.
Yeah.
I'm getting on the freeway, I'm almost redlining it because I'm ringing it so hard.
Yeah. John shifts super late. I shift early. Yeah. I'm riding the bottom half of the RPM range, so I'm looking for torque.
Yeah.
Even on the same bikes. We ride completely different and would want completely different cams.
Exactly. So, a good debate was twin cam, right? Is a 585 versus a 583.
Okay.
Okay. So the 585 is more of a cam that I would ride with. It's not gonna be happy and come on until after 335.
Yep.
Right. So that means I'm going to be happy with it because I'm going to be up in the R's on it. Mm-hmm. But a 583 on the lower
the 585 actually punishes you towards the bottom end.
Yeah. So if you're just putting around, really has nothing.
For a twin cam though, is there a cam that's got that good in the middle? So if you are kind of Or is it black and white? Like you're the top and bottom?
No, we actually build
MR103.
10 different cams.
Yeah. But the MR103.
Yeah, so that one, it's got a little different overlap. It's got a couple other things that kind of...
It's very similar to the 585
on
the low, but it's really not exact.
It's tuned kind of broad spectrum.
Yeah. So if you had a 103 twin cam touring bike, that would be like the ideal cam to put in.
Yeah. We actually run those.
What cam was that again?
Totally.
Some dynos.
What cam was that? The
MR103.
MR103.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's just broad spectrum cam. We make the most cams for twin cams as far as variety goes. Like that motor, you can make it, all top end or all bottom end or kind of a mix.
And
so we probably make too many cams for that motor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But to answer your question on the M8, like where you ride at right now, like if it's a stock motor, say a 107, 114, a 475 cam is perfect. You throw it in and go.
It's pretty happy.
Yeah, that's
it's
perfect.
pretty damn happy.
Because if you were like David was, describing individual that's riding 2-up, wants torque, whatnot, he's going to be more of a 465. So
that's a pure torque cam.
Yeah. So you're riding a little bit more aggressive than that cam would want.
Okay. Yeah, because I'd get a lot of questions like that, and I just I just assumed, okay, well, these things out of the gate come with quite a bit of torque in them, and then you throw the cam and you kind of level them out a little bit, and then you're in a good spot if you go with a horsepower cam. But I'd be the first one to tell you, I don't know. I do understand what torque feels like versus horsepower, like when you ride, but I couldn't tell you that I like one over the other. I kind of like them both. I want them both. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be a little greedy with it.
I mean, well, honestly, I'd rather have torque over horsepower, but the way I ride doesn't agree with it.
Yeah. Now, see, I ride all bottom end, so I want torque. I want something that's going to move me really fast off of quarter throttle.
Okay.
And it's rare for me even to be way deep in the throttle. Like I'm just a lackadaisical rider, whereas John's just.
I want to feel
the entire time.
Like if I'm at 100 miles an hour, I want to be able to
right.
That 6th gear pull is a thing. Totally. I like that feeling.
Totally.
Yeah. Like when you're in 6th gear and you're just like, I guess I'm gonna pass this guy right now, and you don't have to downshift.
Yeah,
you can just give it.
I don't even give a damn about that.
Yeah.
And like for him, that's critical. So it's each,
I need to be able to go around you.
Yeah. It's each guy and really what they're riding.
It was a huge pill to swallow when I went from the 131 to the stock 114. You know what I mean? I was like, God damn, like
that's a big difference.
Come on.
Yeah. And you get used to it too.
I've never been a big I gotta have power guy. And that opportunity fell in my lap last time, and now I kind of like it, but I've had a lot of friends that travel with me that run of numerous different types of products, whether it's S&S big bore kits or another brand's cam or something like that. And it's hard because the general information that's out there, every shop has their go-to, like they're an S&S guy or they're a fuel moto guy, which I think is still y'all in a sense.
I never know what you're talking about.
Well, there's so many cams, there's so many options, there's so many tuners. Everybody's got a
each shop kind of has their secret sauce too.
Exactly.
It's kind of fun.
Like we were saying about the heads that you guys make that you don't port at all for the billet motor.
Right. So our Pro Stock engine, it's a $35,000 billet motor for guys are doing 200 miles an hour on these things now.
Yeah.
Right, in a quarter mile. So the bulk of them we sell are unported. It is a block of aluminum for a head. So the outside of it's ported and some of the inside, but the bulk of the porting is not done. And these guys all have their own secret sauce. So more power to them, And that particular, that kind of guy has got his own machine shop. He's doing his own stuff. So, they do their own thing and they're really possessive about it. Like you'll never see the port on a funny car or a Pro Stock bike or any of that kind of stuff.
It's kind of like the plays that the coaches keep in their
cover
their mouth.
Always got the thing over their face.
Yeah.
If you watch them in the pits, they cover the car up when they're working on it.
Yeah.
And the bikes are the same way. Like they'll actually spin the bike around so you can't see what they're doing. Like even clutching. Like a Pro Stock bike, if they're working on the clutch is facing the truck. You're not gonna be able to see it when you walk by. So yeah, it's a thing. So
it's fucking sketchy.
Those guys are they're doing 200 miles an hour in a quarter mile on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
So
I live 3, 4, maybe 5 miles away from the quarter mile track in Dallas.
Yeah.
Which is I think Texas Motor Speedway where they do a lot of that shit out there.
Yep.
You can hear them.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I grew up near Pomona.
Yeah.
So as a kid, you just listen to that. It just echoed through the whole town. That's
cool.
so good.
Yeah, the top field, you
So
can hear
good.
miles away.
Yeah, before they built the second set of grandstands at Pomona, like it just completely echoed into town.
Yeah.
Like things rattled in your house. It was so good.
That's cool.
It was so good. Yeah.
So with the, with all the products, and the M8s and like, what about like on the Challengers? Like, what kind of products are you guys that you can divulge information? If someone bought a Challenger, what do you have to offer that motor now?
We'll have exhaust coming up, and that's kind of where our focus is. Indian does their own program for big bore, or will be. They have a cam. We obviously are involved in that, but it's branded.
Is it a single cam on that, or what's the cam situation on that?
I haven't opened up a motor to be honest with you.
For real?
Man, you stumped us. Wow, good job. Good job on the stumping.
I'm gonna be honest. I've not opened one of those motors.
I feel like it's got it. I feel like I want to say it's a 4 cam overhead on that thing, but
I think it's dual.
Dual?
I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah, I don't know enough about
us
them.
on that one. No,
Everybody is listening like, it's fucking this many.
Yeah, right now there's dudes listening screaming at their computer.
Right.
Sorry, guys.
Hey,
Anyway,
I can tell you a lot about Harleys. Though.
Yeah, you'll see a couple of performance parts. We've got some intake stuff we're working on.
Have y'all opened up the motor at all to start finding those little things like you said with the Harley with the the tappet cover?
Yeah, for those kind of things, we're doing low volume just for the race motors.
Yeah.
And we've got some other guys asking for race motors, so we're doing some stuff for other teams as well.
Nice.
For the Challenger. Yeah.
The challenge, like I was saying about like seeing performance baggers showing up at Sturgis and seeing more and more of them. It's the same thing with the Challenger. Like I see more and more of them because totally. They stand out a lot more amongst the sea of Harleys, right?
Yeah.
And I haven't seen as many in like the more performance bro circle yet. But I see more of them on the roads. Like I'm seeing a lot of those out there.
Yeah, we have not seen, and in part because there's just nothing to do it. Like there's nobody really making a production 2 in a 1 pipe.
Yeah.
So the parts just aren't even there.
But I think you're going to start seeing them here in the near future. I know that there's some people out there playing with them currently now as we're talking.
Yeah, the Daytona is going to be the debut of a ton of fun stuff.
Oh yes, I mean my fucking bike. Sorry. This is my podcast, so I'm allowed to cuss.
Yeah, you can say sorry all you want. Go ahead.
Even on our podcast, we're okay with that, right?
Okay.
Do we have any rules?
I don't think we do. We just normally don't. And I have a sailor mouth.
Well, you guys work in a more corporate environment here, where you probably don't get to.
I look really corporate. I look really corporate right now.
For me, yes, it is.
Really?
I'm in an office, and you gotta.
We that's kind of this crazy perception of S&S that it's this giant faceless corporation.
Yeah,
we're still owned by the Smith family.
Yeah.
Still family owned.
Like
and I'm wearing a
farmhouse on the property. Like
I guess what I mean by it is like I've been very fortunate to sit inside a lot of names in this industry's operations, right? Doing these podcasts, and this is by far the biggest facility I've ever been. I haven't done a PM or a Rolling Sands.
We're a lot bigger than those facilities.
Or Vance and Hines and some of those. But
Vance and Hines has a pretty good sized facility. Yeah. That place is pretty good size, and it's some buildings scattered all over a big parking lot.
Yeah.
So it's that one's a good one if you want to check out some big facilities.
But I mean,
or don't. It's Vance and Hines.
I mean,
don't do it.
It's what usually happens is like they have a big persona online, and then you finally see their operation. You're like, oh, this is it.
Yeah. At the end of the day, motorcycle aftermarket's still pretty grassroots. The whole market is pretty grassroots.
Yeah.
Like it's very different. Like there are bicycle shops that are, more corporate than like a bike shop would go. It is what it is. That's one of the things that for us is really appealing. The automotive aftermarket is way bigger and there's way more money and everything in it. Yeah. But it's very corporate. Like you're doing trade show in a tie.
I mean, like you go to SEMA and there's like a couple. It's not a motorcycle trade show, right?
No.
But there is a motorcycle presence there with the custom.
Barely. They're more decorative.
Well, they fit in smaller booths and they bring people to their 10x10s.
Yeah, they try and rope motorcycles into that show every once in a while.
Yeah.
But it's so expensive to do that show. It doesn't make sense.
Well, we don't have V-Twin Expo anymore. Now it's AIM Expo, I believe.
It is. So AIM, which started out as kind of a broad spectrum, so it was consumer and dealer and everything else. They've gone back to the original formula that Cincinnati did years ago, which was just industry. So we'll see how that goes. That's coming up this year in
February.
Vegas. Yeah. Is it February? Maybe it's beginning of next year. Yeah.
I don't know.
So that's we'll see on that one. Yeah, I wish them luck. I would love to see a trade show that brought the industry back together.
Yeah.
Like in the early days, especially the Cincy stuff.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
I got to experience that since it was pretty badass.
It was a good time. And it is at the end of the day, it's grassroots industry. You could be in a booth next to your craziest competitor and you're probably having dinner with them.
Yeah.
And that's so like there's no corporate in the motorcycle aftermarket. So which we're okay. There's barely corporate in the motorcycle OEM. Yeah. So
I'm gonna.
Well, compared to automotive, come on.
Well, okay, compared to automotive,
Yeah.
but we're talking motorcycle right now.
Yeah. So it's, but I don't know. For us, that's the appealing part. Is it's really grassroots.
Yeah.
And it's still, no matter who your competitor is, you're still relatively friendly with them. Nobody's cutthroat. Nobody's stealing technology or any of that kind of nonsense.
Yeah, it's kind of like all the rallies are always like a reunion. Like,
It is.
For sure.
So everybody's always like, oh, and it doesn't matter where you're from.
It's kind of like you need that first day before the rally, like when you're setting up, basically,
totally.
and you get to hang out with all your friends because, once we all kind of disperse and go back to where we operate our businesses out of, and you're stuck there and you have to communicate through social media or whatever, like when you finally get back together, like you just want to talk with like-minded individuals who also work and deal with the same bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's a good time. It is very grassroots.
You can relate very well with everybody.
Yeah. That's for us, rallies, I don't know, it depends on the rally, 10 days, 10 hours a day on your feet.
Yeah.
Like rallies are hard for
How'd y'all do with at Black Hills this year? It seemed like that was...
It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good.
I like that Black Hills exists. Like,
Oh, we do too.
Well, no, it's so much better than going downtown.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you get like mid rally, it can turn into a pain in the ass to get into Black Hills sometimes.
Right. Yeah. Right.
But relatively nowhere near as bad as it is to go down Lizelle Street.
No.
Totally.
You go downtown, man. It's like
And
imagine trying to bring your bike in to get air cleaner put on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you
Like
can
any
see
type
the
of
booth, but
parts.
you can't get to it.
Yeah.
So
you wait in a line, you overheat by the time you get there, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I got to buy a new motor. I just bought a new exhaust. Now I got to return it."
Black Hills for us is great, and we have a great partnership with the dealership. So that in itself is
overall
so awesome.
the site plan and the stage plot of everything over there is actually pretty well done. It's
good.
pretty. It's a clean flow in and out.
Well, if you're a consumer and you want to go there to see some brands and maybe get some put on your bike, like you said, that's the spot to be.
Totally.
And I've noticed that some of my friends that have smaller brands, they tried to kind of go out and do like maybe the Buffalo Chip, but then what you realize about the Buffalo Chip is it's only popping when the thing that goes on there is there. The rest of the time it's dead.
A lot of people that are going there are not buying
they're going
parts.
to see Kid Rock.
Yeah, they're not buying. They're not buying parts.
It's a much harder. There's some parts sold and there's stuff going there, but it's a way harder deal. So when Black Hills started coming together years ago and kind of dubbed itself, hey, this is the installation area, this is the shopping zone.
Yeah,
like you just went, damn, that's perfect.
Yeah.
So for brands like us and a ton of others, it's a good program.
Like, we had like this little, I guess you guys weren't there, so it wasn't completely horsepower row, but we had like D&D and then Thunder Max and then he's in my backyard. That's my buddy.
And then Texas boys.
Yeah, and then we have HPI right there. So there's like all these like of our younger generation, I guess you'd say. There's this group where all the performance baggers would just say like, "Oh, we're going to get exhaust put on," and we'd all park our bikes in front of their booths. And the funny thing is, it worked well because, in a sense, a lot of people are on social media. So then they're walking, and I was like, "That's so and so Glide's bike." You know what I mean?
Of course.
And so then they come over there, and next thing you know, they're buying an HPI pipe, and now they're buying a Thunder Max or whatever the case may be. And so it worked out real well, and we were just like, "Hey man, is it cool if we park our shit right here so we can kind of hang out in the booth too?" And he's like, "Yeah, cool." And it ended up working out well for him. Obviously, it wouldn't work for such a huge brand like you guys. With
we're a huge brand.
I know.
Flattering.
He's only said it like 45
you got like a
times.
4-tier tent going on the front of it, like it unfolds and it's got like you guys got to get a semi spot.
It's wait a minute, we have a.
But you have a cool install bay on y'all's setup,
Yep.
and then what all were y'all installing in Sturgis this year?
So air cleaners and exhaust.
Okay, so I mean,
we don't even do anything else. There's other guys there that install our parts, like cams. Speed's Performance.
Yeah.
Speed's actually does hard parts.
Yeah.
Like we won't even do it. We just don't have the bandwidth. We know the people. We know the bandwidth.
Yeah, doing a cam in a rally would seem like it'd be kind of tough.
It is, but there's opportunity.
Yeah.
If you're an individual that wants a cam and you're going to come there, you can schedule it out. There's only a certain amount.
Yeah, that's probably
Say
true.
like, hey, we only have 10 for this rally. You can do it a right way, and where
Speeds does a good job.
they do it a good job. But
They
they
have a
also
dyno too, which makes it.
there's other people out there that run into the problem where they're just like, yeah, we have come get it, and then all of a sudden they have 20 plus people trying to get a cam install, and they're not going to get to that many bikes.
Everybody's mad at everybody at that point. So, So we limit it to exhaust and intake, and we're kind of careful about that, and we bring really smart products. And
I mean, it's a good chance for people to kind of converse about maybe their grand scheme, what they want to do with their bike, and like, hey, I was thinking about going to this level. And then you can help them build that dream platform.
For us, that's why we're there.
It's their first step, right? So you do the air cleaner and the exhaust, you get the sound a little bit different, get a little bit of different horsepower. All right, cool. What do I do next? And then you kind of give them an overview of what they can go on to.
That conversation is critical. When you went to the brand, talked to the guy, and that guy gave you some advice. That's real deal.
Yeah.
That's not my buddy said because his buddy said because his buddy was at a shop. That's you talk to the damn brand.
So, for everybody that's listening, when you go to our rally, ask for David Zemla, and he will tell you exactly what to get in your bike.
John Montgomery. But it's, and both of us are standing there asking questions. I mean, it's part of the deal. So there's something about that. You talk to that damn brand. If you went to Ford Motor Company and talked to somebody named Ford or somebody who was working at that level, like that advice, what they said mattered.
Like talking to Shelby,
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's a big deal. So we get, it's probably as or more important for us to have those conversations than it is to sell a part at a rally.
Yeah.
It helps you stay in touch with maybe a baseline consumer of understanding what is their concerns, because they're going to come divulge those questions to you, and it's going to give you a better answer. Okay, maybe we should work on this part of like putting out more information about this product or whatever, because you can kind of see what the consumers are needing to know and wanting to find out.
We actually change our media based on questions like that.
Yeah.
So you get the same question a million times. You're all, clearly we're not sharing that information very well. So we'll adjust our media, like things like that, and Sturgis and social media, and that all of those pieces kind of influence that.
How much has like say Instagram become a big part of like tech support and all that type of shit? You know what I mean?
You want to take that one?
Oh man,
yeah.
You're gonna almost over half. I think it's like 50-50 right now, right? So it could be a little bit more, but I feel like it's 50-50. So there's a lot of phone calls that come into the office for tech support, right? And you get a person
and emails to the tech team.
Emails.
I feel like that's usually a shop makes that decision to call or email.
Yes. So on the consumer level,
right?
Yeah. So it used to be the consumers would be doing the same thing. Now on a consumer level, not a shopper, a dealer, or anybody like that. A consumer level, an individual, they'll reach out through their social channels, Instagram, Facebook. And they'll ask those really difficult questions. Yeah. Like they're asking tech questions, like straight up. And you're like, okay, I'm about to give you information that could blow up your motor, but this is, do this, and
it's a crazy level of confidence.
It's amazing how,
how do they know who's running? So, and you think about that. I think about when I'm asking other brands questions on Instagram, who's managing that? Is there a little high school kid managing their social media?
Yeah.
And that's not uncommon. So like you're all, damn. So we actually, everybody who answers a question, everybody who touches a customer here goes through special training. Like those guys know their shit.
That's what I was going to say, because I've talked to a lot of marketing people in brands.
Dude, I don't know, like we said that.
Did you catch
that tone?
Marketing.
Did you catch the tone?
Marketing people.
And the amount of
it went down
not
like
knowing
4 notches for something. Marketing. It was like it was Lurch answering the door.
Talk about
you rang. It was marketing.
Talk about how they have no idea how calendars
like,
work. Let's talk about that.
What's a caliber? Like a brake caliber?
Calendar.
Paint gel.
Paint choke. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you'd be surprised, or you probably wouldn't because you understand this, but so many people aren't trained in their own brand, right? They don't know the history.
Oh, totally.
They don't know the products.
Totally.
Yeah.
They know that one thing they need to push right now.
Yeah, totally.
Like, oh, we're pushing this thing, so go drive around and hit all the spots.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
You
our
know?
dude, if
Red Bull.
you DM us some crazy ass question, our dude will, and he's not going to be able to respond instantly.
Yeah.
He'll research it. If he doesn't know it, he'll find out.
Yeah. And like he reaches out to me, quite often, and like different questions. Recently, there was, how many turns on a push rod?
Oh yeah, the push rod adjustment question.
Yeah, the push rod.
We have videos of this.
So
we get tons of questions.
it's 4 full turns, right? But sometimes when you adjust them, it's okay to go a little extra. Maybe like a quarter, or a little bit less than a quarter, but a little extra than 4 full turns, because it's already bottomed out and it's bleeded out all the way. So and then you can actually get it to stop clacking.
Yeah. I've done a fair share of I've done all of my own motor work over the years, and I've been successful with it. Yeah. When I say motor work, I mean cam and big bores.
That's a good deal, though.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, though.
But
hey, you've opened up a motor. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing the push rods, even though I've done it like 5 times in my lifetime, it's always a year in between the next time I do it. So I freak out doing the push rods because it's
and mostly everybody does, though.
Yeah.
And because if you do not do it the correct way, or if it's loose or wiggly at all, man, you have
clacky.
You have a lot of metal.
Yeah.
That tappet could pop all the way out, and then seep back down, and then rub the wrong way. The push rod.
Hopefully you don't. It's not that off.
Yeah, I know.
Mostly it's just clacky.
It's mostly clacky, and it could create a little bit of metal up top in your head.
Yeah. But it's the volume of really solid tech questions that we get on social media is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And just also the level of crazy.
I feel like a lot of people, when they're getting ready to make a purchase, like they want to know more.
Oh yeah, you're 100% right on that. Yeah. That one you see a lot more than not.
I mean, like if you look at like everything's reviews nowadays, right? And I tell people all the time, I'm not a review guy. Like I ride bikes, and if it's on my bike, it's because it fucking works, right? But going on YouTube and being like, let's review the new S&S big bore kit. This one. Yep, it sounds good. Like I don't feel like I'm going to answer it. I don't think I'm going to give it a good Yelp review. Let's put it like that. Not a bad one, but I don't know how to explain this to where you're going to want to buy it.
Right.
But if I use it and people see me traveling on it, like, oh, well, Jace is running that big bore kit. It's
that's a solid review, though.
And
he rode over 100 miles on it. It's okay. Yeah.
So a lot of brands, or a lot of the YouTube world does that whole I want to do a review on your product, and I'm like, and don't get me wrong, like I'll go on there and check out a review of something if I want to know some information, and sometimes you might get some regurgitated brochure information on that review,
right?
But honestly, like my friend, like with the S&S big board kits, my friend Steve Chamberlain, who raced at BRL and stuff like that, that dude travels his ass off. Me and that dude's ran a lot of states together. We actually left Dallas together. So he's ran all over the country with that kit, and it's been like probably the only thing that hasn't blown up on the bike. I mean, motor's been good, but like clutches and compensators and shit like that. But so to me, like I'm like, oh yeah, well that shit works. When my friends with their cams that you guys make, I'm like, that shit works. Like I get it. As opposed to like if one of those guys had something that failed, of course I'm not going to be like, well, that failed, they all suck. Yeah. But you start seeing, okay, this one failed, that one failed, that one failed. It's like that brand's got 5 cams out there that's causing issues.
Yeah.
You know
that's
what I mean?
why we do all that crazy testing.
Yeah.
Like we make sure that happens here.
Yeah, but and so like for consumers, like they feel more confident, to make that bigger purchase when asking us the question. So they'll present it like, hey, I have this bike. I'm thinking about doing this. Yeah. Is this the right setup for my bike? What are your thoughts?
Yeah.
And then
we get a ton. The cam question actually is probably one of the more popular on Instagram, Facebook.
And a lot of times we actually help educate them. Like, hey, this is not the right thing for you. You don't want to do that. You want to do this. Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, we get my buddy's got a bike that's X dyno chart, blah, blah, blah.
I heard on Facebook.
We don't get guys to admit to that.
Yes,
but it's usually the buddy did something and he's making X horsepower.
Yeah.
And I need to beat him.
I've been seeing. I don't know if it's. I feel like I've been seeing horsepower numbers from bone stock like 114s and 107s with just a cam, exhaust, and air cleaner and a tuner that have been getting like crazy numbers. I don't believe.
We call that a happy dyno.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
There's a happy dyno.
Happy dyno.
So, have you seen any of like okay, so like on the MA, you guys have a cam that would require putting, sturdier valve springs and things like that in there, right?
Yeah.
What kind of ranges have you seen with those cams on basically stock setups? Like big bore wise, not a big bore kit, like a 114, 107 kind of thing.
Oh, just on a stock setup?
Yeah.
And with a bigger cam, it's actually, it kind of
defeats the purpose.
Yeah, it retards the motor a little bit.
475 is
Okay.
as big
Yeah.
as you can go on like a stock bore.
But even if you were to switch
Before
it,
you're kind of wasting it.
yeah, so like,
okay, that
say,
makes sense.
Yeah.
say take like our 590, right? This is the biggest one, right? And you shove
That's
it in
the-
a 107. Yeah, it's
ain't
like
good shit.
it's.
It would probably
yeah.
only make horsepower in the last handful of RPMs before
You're
it
like
exploded.
you're like running it out and running it out, and then all of a sudden it just like boom, and it's like
yeah, so that cams eventually want compression and they want cubic inches. So
Yeah.
So
you can't. It doesn't work.
It doesn't. It doesn't necessarily.
Like I said, dumb quick. I'm a painter.
No, you're fine.
But
You're fine.
I think it'll help.
And you're not the only one, because you know how many times out on the circuit you'll be like, oh, I'm getting 600 cams. I'm getting 650 cams in my twin cam. Blah blah blah. And you're like, okay, what size is your motor? Oh, it's a 96. Okay, all right, cool, great talking to you. Yeah, it's like that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
And so it's like trying to, what is it, the round peg in a square hole.
Yeah.
It's very similar. So you just gotta find the two that marry each other.
We actually have a page on our website that's devoted just to cams, styles, and sizes, and
Yeah.
what you ride and how you do it. And
Yeah, I saw that. It's actually pretty in depth because there's a lot of information, especially when you go into twin cams, because you have so many options.
So
with
many,
that stuff.
yeah. Like a lot of people don't even know we have like a 551. You know what I mean, for your smaller displacement motors, which is a great cam, or the 510. Like for the 88, God, that's a great cam for.
That
an
makes that motor a little ripper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of people are probably usually looking for. They want the most for their money. They want the most horsepower for the least amount invested.
Yeah.
right.
You know what I mean?
And I agree with them on that. I do too. But I also want to be smart about it. I don't want to just get it because it has a big number. And then all you're doing is either adding more money to the motor to make it fit that cam, or you're going to end up buying a whole new motor.
Well, it's like when you look at like what a big bore kit costs, they're relatively not that expensive at all.
No.
If you just bought the bore, right, and the pistons and stuff.
And there's great videos on YouTube on how to do it.
John's in the videos, so that's why he's saying that. Yeah. We actually have a new secret one coming up that is monster bore.
Yeah. Yep.
That is, it's like the everything kit.
It's everything I can throw at it.
Yeah. Yeah, what is it? Actually, it's called the monster kit, isn't it?
It is called the Monster Kit. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. It's almost ready. I have the heads waiting
Is it a full crank up thing, or is
Maybe.
it?
Maybe.
So
All I know is I'm going to go really fast.
Just goes nuts when we do this, because now people will call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're going to be like, what's the Monster Kit?
Well, then the podcast sponsorship.
And we didn't even say what's funny is we didn't even say the displacement on the Monster Kit, and people will just call and be like, I want the Monster Kit.
what's the monster about?
Yeah. So then some poor salesperson inside our building's all, oh, fucking Dave and John.
Yeah. Well,
Never heard of
So,
it.
yeah, so we try not to do that, but we kind of do that. But, we're marketing geeks at the end of the day, so we're all excited about the new.
yeah.
Yeah, well, you create buzz about certain things, especially right now we're going into customize your bike season.
No.
That's a good point.
It would be a good time to open up a
that'd be a
case
good
for
point.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that's going to be a fun one for that. And then, we keep that motor is crazy durable, so we just keep doing more fun stuff to it.
Yeah, and it started off as a 107.
Not bad.
Yeah. Yeah, they what did that thing run? So the bagger that we're building, John's building, what did that run on the dyno last?
Oh shoot!
So that's a 4 5/8 stroke.
It's a 4 5/8 stroke with the 4-inch cylinders on
4
it.
1/4.
4 1/4. Yeah, 4 1/4, and then it has the 590 gear cam in it.
Right.
So,
so that in current form, that's everything we make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so you were 150-ish?
No, I ended up getting higher. I did some stuff to it. I think I ended up at 161 around there, if I remember correctly.
Oh, yeah?
It was either 159 or 161. I forgot.
So with the gear cams, I've always wanted to ask you guys about this. What was the because with the gear cam, you have less of a tolerance, right? That you can run.
Well, on the
with the run out.
Yeah, your flywheel, right? But so it's constantly timed. It's always timed, and you don't have to worry about
That's
the chain.
the advantage, right? The advantage of having a gear drive cam.
And honestly, I mean, it's to who's their own.
So the chain can actually stretch and cause like a little bit of a variance in the timing.
Well, so you're talking about crank run out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So the shaft on the crank that goes, so it's from the wheels, goes through a big old bearing into the cam chest.
Right.
Is maybe not dead true. It doesn't
it's
necessarily
like,
always
it's wiggling up and down.
This is micro amounts.
Yeah.
So it's 0.006 or 5.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Anyway, but it's
I don't remember.
It's tiny little amounts that are irrelevant when it's a cam drive chain. So the gears are not touching each other.
Yeah.
Right.
So the end of that shaft where the gear is that's got a chain on it can move around a little bit. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
And the bearing will tolerate a little bit as well. But when you do a gear drive cam, so then it's got teeth touching teeth. And for a really efficient gear drive cam, it's a tight tolerance.
You literally have to have no run out.
Yeah, so the run out, it has to be micro amounts, otherwise it'll actually break.
That's why more often than not, you saw the problem with twin cams, right? Guys would put it in a gear drive.
Yeah, they actually break the cam plate.
Yeah, snap.
Yeah.
It's not even their fault, but they came off of the line out of tolerance.
Yeah.
Twin cams are pretty rough. Yeah.
I feel like in the dynas, man, I saw some stupid runouts on relatively 2,000 mile motors in like that late 2000s dyna.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they just when they went to the 96 inch, I feel like that's when I saw a lot of really bad
the 88
runouts.
bottom end was one of the best bottom ends.
Dude, I pulled apart like Timken bearing bottom ends that had like 120,000 miles on it, still had a good tolerance on the runouts.
Yeah.
It's really hit and miss.
No, it's very hit and miss, and you have more. The chain is more forgiving.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So,
well, like I said, when you offer that option on the website, so I know that myself, including and probably a lot of other people that aren't very educated in the mechanical ways, probably wonder, okay, well, what should I go with this? Because I'm one of those dudes where like, if there's two TVs and one's more expensive, I'm like, well, that one's better. You know what I mean? And
the gear drive cam is definitely better. It is a tighter tolerance, and it has no wearable parts.
Right.
That chain and chain tensioner, especially chain tensioner, wears. It is a wearable freaking part.
It is a wearable part.
And the more it wears, the more your cam has a chance to be out of phase.
yeah.
So gear drive solves that.
Yeah, you just got to make sure you're within tolerance.
If you could easily just maintain your stuff and it'd be fine as well.
How do you maintain a crank though? I mean, is it just regular oil changes type things, or?
Well, you got to make sure you
can't really maintain a crank.
Can I oil it?
But
Oil's good. Oil's, they love.
So if you're opening it up, you have the opportunity to switch out bearings, right? You want to, if you're opening it up, you always want to make sure to update your bearings for sure. But other than that, you want to make sure, like what I'm just emphasizing again, because everybody doesn't always get it, but the tolerance on the run out, you got to actually use a special tool for it, right? So not everybody knows that, and that's where it comes down to.
Yeah, my first cam plate I ever did in my life, right? It was I had a S&S 107 on a 103 kit, so I did that, and I was like, and I already had like 20-something thousand miles on it. It was a 2012 Road Glide, so I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and go buy the Screaming Eagle cam chest thing or the plate. I already had like I don't remember whose cams I was running in it, but I never checked the run out. I didn't even know it was a thing. I just put the shit on there and ran with it, and it worked fine.
Yeah,
you got lucky.
I got lucky, and then I met some. I started to become friends with more adept mechanics.
Yeah,
and they started telling me what a run out was, and I'm just like had that lost face, like wait,
Yeah, you're like
we've seen grenaded cam plates.
Oh god, yeah.
And our cam plate is so the twin cam is actually it's now a billet.
It's a billet,
but for that it was forged, so it doesn't get any stronger as far as material goes.
Yeah,
and they'd break, they actually crack.
It would crack the cam plate and disintegrate everything.
Probably half-inch thick plate of aluminum.
I was roughly around there.
Yeah. Like so, the motor's wrecked at that point. There's so many things that are tweaked or bent or. So crank runouts thing. It's and it's pretty damn manageable.
So with the M8s, a lot of people have been trying to pull out the balancer in there.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I'm not a fan personally. Yeah.
I feel like I know on the Softails it's highly unadvised or advised not to.
No, you can
because
actually
they vibrate
see
so much.
the glass in your mirror shoot out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's violent.
I understand and everything, but honestly, I like a smooth ride.
Yeah.
You know, and it could do just as much.
Yeah.
You know,
there was actually some of the race bikes still running it.
Yeah.
For real.
So short of that, there's no reason to take that counterbalancer out of there.
I'd rather
It
feel
actually
the-
does a really good job.
I'd rather feel the lope and the cam than I would the actual flywheel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That motor is really designed to have that thing, and without it, it's pretty violent. You know, especially, my God, in a Softail.
Yeah.
Like, it would disassemble the motorcycle.
God.
Yeah. Our buddy rode out to the Smokies to do that thing, and he said that basically it rattled off anything that could rattle
Oh,
off.
sure.
Totally.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
bike,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah, that's not a good move. We don't. We actually make cranks for that, and mostly for race guys. There isn't a compelling reason.
There's
to do that.
not for a street bike.
What so you guys y'all did Born Free,
Yeah.
which was thankfully back this year.
Yeah, it was back and very strong. It was.
That's what I was hearing on the podcast. That you guys were saying that it was really good turnout there, and I mean I didn't get a chance to go because it was so close to Sturgis. But how was it?
It was amazing. It was great to be back. You know, I know the time period was a little different, but it was amazing.
They fixed that for next year, right?
I think
it's back
they
to
did.
June.
Yeah.
So, and the Texas one.
They- now
you
you
talked
got-
about that.
Yeah.
I've been in the know about that for a while, and I like to leak things. So I had talked about
We
that a
don't do
couple
We never do that.
a while
monster.
back. So you like Oliver Peck and all those guys. They bought some land out there in East Texas.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they just had a big show there this past weekend, and it's a pretty dope spot. Now,
Is it? Where when you say East Texas, where at?
do you know where Tyler, Texas is?
Yeah.
It's about a little bit southeast of that. Really nice area,
Okay.
but there's not a lot of amenities around there.
Right. It's pretty rural over there.
But it's a good location. It's got potential, and the better thing is that there you'll have the potential to stay there at the event.
right.
Yeah.
As
But for
opposed to-
for vendors like us, we got to be driving in. Like
Yeah. So it's going to be good. We're in the works of talking of kind of being that. Our brand will kind of be that San Diego Customs of Born Free.
yeah.
There will kind of be
some
that
cool
of,
kid shit right
Yeah.
there. Well,
Look at that. All of a
quite the
sudden,
flex, Chase. San Diego Customs dropped
Yeah,
into this
he's a
thing,
cool
too.
guy now, right? Look at this. Yeah.
Well, what they do for the Born Free to kind of bring in the Dynas and the
totally.
Softails and the Performance Baggers.
We're actually big SDC fans.
Yeah, we're huge.
Yeah, for sure. Those dudes are great.
And to your point over at Born Free this year, the diversity, like wow, like it's,
People or bikes?
Yeah, it's
Yes, is your answer?
Well, no, it's like both actually. Leaps and bounds compared to like what my first one was Born Free 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And it's like leaps and bounds because it used to be very like you don't ride a chopper and it's not this. And it's like yeah.
Well, from the moment I started going to chopper events, like your Giddy Ups and your Born Frees,
Right.
it's always the parking lots full of Dynas, Sporties, FXRs.
And everything else, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And-
the beauty of Born Free because the parking lot's actually part of the show.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So like in a sense, but it's crazy. You go to a Dyna show and it has none of that aspect.
No,
right?
it does not.
So I think that the showmanship of the chopper culture, of the event itself, how they turn it into such an immersed party, that it's attractive to the performance bagger guys, to
No, totally.
everybody else.
Yeah,
And I
we
think-
actually bring an example of each genre.
Yeah.
Like we're not bringing just chopper stuff.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. But I think it's what's happened now is what's transpired is that the chopper culture or the people that put on the show are embracing the change and like, hey, bring that in too.
quite true. Yeah.
Let's showcase all of the not just choppers. Let's showcase everything that's amazing.
Yeah.
Born Free is one of our favorite shows.
Yeah.
It is a neat show.
It is. I mean, it's like a big reunion when you go there.
Oh man.
You're constantly seeing, running into everybody.
Yeah,
And,
it's got a cool vibe. It's in a neat location. It's
and you
just
see
a
some of
good
the best
show.
bikes in America.
Oh
And
yeah,
some
without a doubt.
unbelievable bikes. Right, like the parking lot alone is epic
Yeah.
bikes, and you're not even in the show yet.
Yeah.
So we dig that one.
I think next year's Born Free. I think me and my group, we do a 2-week trip every year somewhere in the country, and we're gonna time it so we can go hit Pacific Northwest because we haven't done that yet.
Yeah.
and then drop down to Born Free, to, like ride the whole coast from Seattle all the way down.
You come down the one. Yeah, the one is a good
That'll
ride.
be an epic ride, dude.
We've done San Francisco down quite a few times because it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
But that connection from San Francisco to Seattle is a little bit tougher to get when you live in Texas.
Totally.
You know,
that'll be an epic ride, dude.
Yeah.
That's a fun ride.
Yeah.
We want to drop into Born Free again, and it's just fun there, man.
It's a great vibe, great location.
Yep.
June is a little bit hotter.
So my first Born Free experience, there was a heat wave going on, and I was riding my gold FXR I had built, and 115 degrees just over there in Joshua
Cool
Tree.
bikes love that. It's fun.
Yeah.
And
especially full fairing ones.
Oh, jeez.
Just hold the heat in.
God, yeah. And the location's awesome where it's at, but the problem is it's in an area where it's very
developing.
It's not even developed. It's more like a deserty mountain.
Yeah, you got that aspect. So
where it's actually at, they can't develop it.
They were I don't know if all I'm allowed to say either about it all, but it's the Texas move is kind of like so that what happened last year doesn't happen again.
As in the state pushing back?
Because it was kind of at a deal where I was even questioning if they would get the permits to be able to put that many people in. Fortunately, Orange County's pretty lenient on that type of stuff versus if it was a county over in like Riverside or something like that, you know?
Yeah, but that's kind of extraordinary times. Yeah. You know, I think that gets better going forward.
I hope, but here we are.
They do a ton of really wacky events at that location.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to get rid of that location.
As wacky.
Well, I feel like someone told me that like the land is for sale right now, and they are, I guess, whatever that is, Anaheim right there that's pushing in.
It's Irvine Company, I think, that owns that.
Yeah, Irvine Company is coming up from the south right there.
But I don't think they can. As far as we know, you can't develop that, right?
Actually, on that certain area you could develop
on
that plot of land.
Yeah, that could be bad.
You could develop on that because it's already been developed on.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, that'd be bad. Yeah, that's that part of the charm of that is that location.
But you have to make it alluring because everything else, like that road that you come up to get there.
Yeah,
you can't touch any of that. So that's all like off limits. So it's like, cool, I'm going to buy this property back here for what?
I bet that's probably worth a fortune if it were to sell.
I know.
Yeah.
So the Texas thing is going to be interesting. We're looking forward to seeing how that plays out as well.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be a good. I don't think it'll be anything like what the experience. I mean, you understand the experience of Born Free is also being in California.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? Which is always a great time. There's. Whether you can do Born Free for 2 hours if you don't want to see it all, and then go hit the coast.
Yeah, just go rip it for a little bit.
There's a ton of companies there. There's a ton of industry there. Yeah, so totally.
You just stay out of the freeways, stay out of the traffic. You know.
So I mean, like there's an allure to that. Like I want to go see. I want to go to California. Oh, this time we're Born Free, so we have something to do while we're there, other than the other shit we could be doing there.
Totally.
Like the last one we went to was 19, and we got a house. We rented a house in Venice, right?
Oh, that's a haul.
All the shit we wanted to do was on the other side. We didn't really want to go that far. The house in Venice, and then I was doing podcasts, so I'm like jumping up into the valley to go see Valley Customs and Thrashing and these other guys, right? But then like my other buddies were like, hey, let's go get some tickets to the Comedy Store and go Uber there right quick. You don't want to Uber there from fucking Riverside or something like that.
Exactly.
So it's like we're closer to all the other things that we wanted to do as like legit tourists. You guys are from California, so it's a different vibe. You probably stay away from that area.
100%.
We're almost staying away from California as a whole.
But see, what's weird is because like I said, my wife is from there, and her aunt lives in Venice Beach, so we used to always just crash there.
Oh yeah.
But now it's a shit show there.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly.
So we're kind of like
the whole thing's kind of a mess. I don't know. The last time I was in California, I was mad the entire time.
Yeah.
Like you're stuck in traffic. We're super spoiled out here. Like both of us have 18 minutes. Probably even less on a bike.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Through those twisties in the woods that you just went through. Like
I've made it to work in 10 minutes.
Yeah, he cheats. So but you're super spoiled. When I was in California, I was 90 minutes each way on the 91 freeway. And it was very unpleasant. You didn't know any better because you didn't know. But now that you're here, you're kind of spoiled.
90 minutes? That's a lucky day.
Yeah, it was a good day. That's if everything went right.
You're lucky, dude. It took me 90 minutes just to go from Irvine to Tustin.
Yeah, totally. Right. So you're like, now going back, like you're just mad. You're just pissed. Like everything's in the way.
Like we were back down. So we went back down there, right? And we went down to the Irvine Spectrum. 9:30 at night, I'm sitting in traffic trying to get back up to Tustin.
Yeah.
Damn.
Like at 9:30 at night.
Yeah,
like, seriously.
We have maybe lost the tolerance to traffic after living here for a couple of years. You know, like a big deal here is there's just deer in the road.
Yeah.
Like I gotta slow down a little bit.
I don't care if I can't see the roads. I'm able to actually go driving. They got lights everywhere because there's so many cars down there and it's all lit up.
So I think this has kind of ruined us for driving in California. Being in California is not horrible.
No, it's great to visit.
Driving in California is just so miserable.
You should turn that whole state into like a tourist attraction.
It kind of is.
I guess it is.
So we're not like, I don't know, come across like California haters or anything, but
I feel like, Southern California, I feel like is a stepping stone for a lot of people in their lives because a lot of people, like for us, we're excited about living here in the middle of America, right?
Yeah.
Midwest, right? And we didn't grow up here. We grew up in California. So the people that grew up here want to go to California, experience that.
Very much so.
And it's like a stepping stone for them, you know?
Because when you're trying to buy a house.
I agree.
You know,
100%.
you're single, you're able to do these things. You can live off of ramen, right on, you know? And then it's like, I want to have a family, a life. Things cost money. It's crazy. I'm going to go back to the middle of America. Yeah.
There's something that's, for us, it's been this kind of fun adventure. You know, we've brought a handful of other California people with us. Cody is actually from California as well.
Cody's from California.
Yeah. Like the locals are kind of trepidatious about that. They're all,
they didn't necessarily.
Don't get your California on our Wisconsin. You know?
Yeah, they didn't know. I don't know if they liked me at first.
Yeah, I think they're still suspect to you.
I feel like they are.
Yeah. No, I think we've absolutely lost our tolerance to traffic and to that kind of everything's a line and that kind of stuff.
I guess like I look at it from an aspect of like I grew up in Dallas and I live in Dallas still. Yeah. So there's still this part of me that wants to experience what it's like to wake up and live in a different place.
Sure.
You know, where it doesn't feel like home. Like not saying I want to go to Fort Worth and live there like 30 miles away. Like I want to wake up and see this for a while or see a season or things
go
like
to North
that.
Carolina or something.
You
know what I mean?
There's something about season stuff. Yeah. That was like the running joke in my house. So I moved my whole family here. Like my kids were just going into high school. So this is a hell of a transition. The town we live in has fewer people than my daughter's high school did when she was in California.
Yeah.
So it was a big transition, you know. So like it worked out really well. So like our kind of running joke. So let's where's next? Let's move to New Zealand, see what happens. Family not on board.
Yeah.
They have no interest in this. But like, you know, now it's like a social experiment. Like, see what we can get away with.
There's part like, you know, Dallas is a good hub, so like our podcast has done well because we catch a lot of people coming through.
Dallas is good.
No, Dallas is great. And
it's, you know, from everywhere in the country, it's $120 plane ticket.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So that part's good, but I don't know. There's something about like the architecture and the older cities that I like of like the St. Louis and north and over kind of vibe. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, when you keep going west, even though things deteriorate in the desert, it's all newer shit than what is east, right? In a sense.
Oh, totally.
You get the mini skyscrapers over there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, there's like, even like, I was blown away by Chicago the first time I read through it. I was like, wow, this fucking place is huge.
Yeah, Chicago's actually really neat. If you, again, as long as you don't have to drive.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to live there.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to.
Like, I dig Chicago.
I like Chicago. I like visiting.
Yeah, hanging out on the river in Chicago is a good time.
The suburbs, some of the suburbs of Chicago are
we actually
nice.
have an employee just outside of Chicago.
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah, we're a ton of so it's welcome to 2021, right? So a ton of our team is remote. So,
where they all used to be in here, and now it's like cubicles filled with parts now.
Yeah,
totally.
kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, we're thinking about maybe we're gonna get some mannequins, fill it up, make it look
like, hey, Bob.
Yeah, exactly. You know, just have somebody to talk to.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, the woman that runs our back end of our website lives just outside Chicago.
Makes sense. I mean, I have a good buddy that's actually from Minneapolis. He's one of my guys that does our trips and stuff like that with us, and he's a banker. He works for Wells Fargo. He does a lot of the business side for like mortgages for businesses and things like that. I guess is it a mortgage still for a business? I don't know.
It could be.
Anyway, he
depending
does
on the
nerd
situation.
shit, right?
Yeah.
And he hasn't.
Mortgaging is nerd shit.
I like the classification.
Yeah.
It's
bankers around the world listen to this going.
He doesn't have dirt under his fingernails. That's nice.
Okay.
But anyway, that Wells Fargo, they have a tall building in every downtown metroplex, and they're empty now because
totally.
I
kind of like it.
Yeah, and he's like, he don't want to go back to the.
For us, it's kind of opened up some neat opportunities for employees, maybe really neat people that don't want to live in the middle of the woods.
I wonder though, the social experiment, like you just said though, like the social experiment of that is way different though, because when you're young and developing and becoming a person, like you kind of need to be in a workplace environment to.
Some people do, yeah. Some people don't. I think you learn that maybe you don't want to be in that environment by being in that environment.
And I also think the times have changed and people have a different outlook on how
you get a whole bunch of socially awkward people because they don't know how to have a conversation.
We not everybody has they're socializing at other times. That's not our problem. Okay. Not our problem.
Yeah.
And it's not the same as it used to be, put it that way.
Yeah, and there's, for us, like a fair amount of our socializing is at work. We're living in a tiny little town. Both of us are not what we'll call wildly social people. So the bulk of our social right now is at work.
I would say like for a very small example, like you both work at a place and then one of your coworkers that sometimes you have lunch with also rides a Harley. It's like, hey man, you ride, what's that like?
At
lunch one day. Oh, it's cool. I think I want to try one of that.
Yeah.
Right now you don't have that anymore. So
no, it's true. And there's
now
I'm sure there's
now influencer is important.
Yeah. It's gonna
right?
Totally true.
Yeah.
I think something's definitely socially lost by that.
Yeah.
But I love the opportunity that we can have really quality employees that don't necessarily have to be in the building.
Yeah.
So
I think, like I said, I have a grim outlook on it, but I think right now we're still not far removed from physically being in a workspace, of being around people and having to learn how to operate within a small economy within a business. But at the same time, when you look at a downtown metroplex or a downtown center, there's so many businesses that feed off of the lunch crowd.
Oh, totally.
And like that affects the economy.
Totally.
Yeah.
No,
economy.
It changed the dynamic of things.
Yeah, without a doubt. The people shutting down just because they can't. Just because of that.
They can't fill in their spots.
Yeah, maybe in a good way, maybe in a bad way. I don't know. I think so. I worked remote years ago, 3-4 years. I was super productive. I worked more.
Oh, I feel like it. I feel like you do work more.
Yeah,
like
I totally felt like I worked. Like that visual cue of everybody getting up, leaving at the end of the day. I didn't have that. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't know. I got yelled at because it was dinner time. That's when I knew I was done.
I think there is a certain individual that can do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're wired for it or you're not.
And it's become more of like this trend where it's like, I don't need to work.
But I've got a couple of buddies that are remote now and can't wait to get back in offices. Like that social thing is part of their life. Like they're losing their minds.
Well, it might be their escape from the life that they don't like living at home too.
Or that.
So that's.
Ooh, look at this!
Guy.
I like this though. He's coming. He's
gotta go buy my buddy a beer.
Dr. Jace is now coming to the. This is Loveline with Dr. Jace.
He's sad. Anyway,
talk to me about ED. I got you, buddy.
That's escalated very quickly.
I like it.
I didn't realize you were the expert on that. But
I watched a YouTube video last night.
Oh, perfect! Is that what they call it these days? YouTube.
Run into a problem. I'll give you a call. Hang on, honey. I gotta call Jace. Okay.
It was funny. I was like, I was laying in bed last night, getting ready to, just kind of like what's on, because I've been riding all day.
Started off really bad.
What city were you
laying in bed?
night?
Milwaukee.
Okay.
Yeah. So I rode all day yesterday to get here, or to get to Milwaukee, and then for some reason, like how YouTube, how social media is, they like things start popping up in your algorithm, and I'm like, what did I do to get a erectile dysfunction video pop up on my YouTube feed?
It knows your age.
I guess that's what it is.
You're male?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I was like, what the fuck did I watch something that, did I?
By the way, your wife is asking that same question.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
What the hell did you do?
And it was probably something along the lines, you were having a conversation about a motorcycle.
I probably talked about it.
Yeah.
Actually.
And it was something, this is dysfunctional.
In one of my circles, one of my buddies started doing testosterone replacement or therapy or whatever the fuck. So we were talking about that quite a bit. And he's like, yeah, I got to get blood. I got to donate blood all the time now because, I guess you produce more blood when you have a higher testosterone or something like that. I don't know. Once again, I'm a painter.
I know. You're a painter.
But I think that maybe that's why that popped up.
Oh, I'm sure, dude. The shit listens. So it is what it is.
Yeah, no, it's
we
good.
test that every once in a while.
Yeah.
For real?
Oh, yeah. Just to see what the algorithm's doing.
Yeah. No, definitely. Like the Bronco, for example. Yeah. Like I came back and we test drove one, me and my wife. And I came back and I was telling him about it. Literally, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes later, all these ads.
Yeah.
For the freaking Bronco. It's like, I'm not going to buy one. I just test drove it just because I wanted to ride it.
Yeah. So that's, welcome to contemporary marketing.
Exactly.
That marketing though, like, it feels dirty. Doesn't it?
It is.
It is. It's big brother kind of feeling.
Maybe.
Somebody's watching over you.
S&S is not listening to you. Just anyone who's listening to us, S&S not listening to you. Well, on social media, unless you DM us.
I think that social media as a whole over the last 20 years has exposed advertising.
Oh, totally.
Right? Mm-hmm. Because advertising wasn't in your face like it was. It was in your face, but it was much more subliminal.
I don't know if it was more subliminal. It was in a different way. Like, you were in social media a disproportionate of hours of your life right now. Right. You were not in a magazine disproportionate hours of your life, 15, 20 years ago.
But I'm going to go ahead and say after yesterday, there's going to be a whistleblower that talks all about this.
About what?
Yeah.
Damn. Facebook shut down.
Well, because there was a whistleblower yesterday, right? And so I'm going to say that somebody's going to come forward and say everything we're saying is 100% accurate, and they're always watching us.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Jace's podcast gets shut down for the day.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
Well, right now I own it until I put it out there. So... But no, that is a weird thing because, going down a conspiracy hole here, if you will, like we're all trained to be a little bit of a marketer now.
Totally.
You start filling out your MySpace profile. You start, what's some good characteristics?
I need more friends. MySpace.
I need to promote myself in a way that makes me look more like engageable, or people will want to be my friend.
How do I get Tom to like me?
Top 8 right now. I need to get friends to put in my top 8. So it's like you have.
Dude, I dig that. Like you're a born marketer from the time you were like 9.
Friendster,
as an adult.
Friendster, MySpace,
you're Friendster. Oh man, right out of the archive.
I mean, if you didn't have Tom in your top 8, you were nobody.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Man, you're showing your age.
So I think about that a lot, and I'm like, okay, well, over the time, and then the term that nobody likes to say, influencer, things like that.
So we're okay with performance bagger and influencer. We can say that around here.
Then you have like your vlogging. Remember when that, or blogging? Remember blogging was first. And was doing
then it was vlogging. Yeah.
And it just it feels dirty.
That vlogging doesn't feel dirty. I think Facebook listening to me on my phone feels a little dirty.
That's what I'm saying. That's the word.
So I'm going to go ahead and I agree with the Facebook listening, but like vlogging or doing things like that, I don't agree with, because so take it from a music perspective, like an artist, right? Mm-hmm. So at one point in time, cassette tapes, CDs, records, like these variations, it's evolved, right? But that's how they made money. How do they make money now? TikTok. Yeah. Like they get their song played on TikTok. There's a dedicated TikTok channel on Series. Mm-hmm. They play all the actual music that's on Series. Yeah. That's on TikTok. So you're using a social media platform to actually make money for the artist to give you music that you love. Yeah. So that's where it gets a little bit different. Yeah, yeah. And like I said, I'm not saying that I hate that. I'm saying that it feels weird sometimes.
There's parts of it that are questionable.
Yeah. Like I have said product now, and this company's paying me to say said product is the best. And now I got to be creative and turn this into a funny video.
Sure. Yeah. When it's forced. Yeah.
It feels like, okay.
People who are doing it well are doing it really well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. There's a couple. Like there was that Nerf guy for a while.
There's a ton of guys doing it.
His videos were so good though. Like he would be supplies all the new Nerf guns, and he would put on this performance of like cups stacked up and just nailing them. It was like the best thing to watch, you know.
So that micro influencer that has some free product from a local store that's trying to do their little force thing. More power to them if they can make it make sense. Mm-hmm. That's great. And at the end of the day, that little store, all it cost them was a little bit of product, and they did some marketing. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Yeah. So I like that.
There's levels to it.
For us, the 2-week conversation is amazing. Yeah. You had an ad in a magazine. It didn't come out for 90 days. You forgot about it, and when it did finally come out, did it work? I don't know. Yeah. Right? Did your phone ring? Not sure. Can you track it? I don't know. No, really got nothing. Like something like Jon does a post on something, and he could light up our phones that day, right? And it's a 2-way conversation. Yeah. I love that. I love that. Like, you're standing in your living room and you're all, I need to talk to S&S right now.
And you'll be able to reach out to somebody.
And they can get a response.
And we thrive off of trying to respond as fast as possible.
I freaking dig that. Like, we have Motorhead rabbit holes. We work in a Motorhead environment. All the conversations are about cars or bikes or even a little bit of bicycle, but it's all wheeled things. Every conversation. And, you get caught up in when you're like, well, I don't know, did they make that back then? Or you instantly have the information.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I love that. Right. I love that opportunity, So in hey, I want to hear what, S&S thinks my cam should be at, in the middle of the night and get an answer by morning or get an answer immediately if time's right. What was your other option? When back in magazine days, what was your choice?
I'm gonna go down to the brick and mortar tomorrow.
You could go to your local shop and hope that guy had some experience with it and understood it.
Yeah,
maybe he did, maybe he didn't.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's so much. Like the motor, like a lot of industries are going to change and are changing as we speak.
They're evolving constantly.
I like that.
It's like when we first started the podcast, there was a lot of pushback against brands becoming online stores, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you need to, only do brick and mortar places. Don't go to the guy that's just on whatever. But now it's like, there was no fighting that. That's hand over fist money people make selling products.
Guys are going the other way. Like RevZilla is doing stores now. It is. There's a balance in there, but
there is.
There's at the end of the day, you need something right now. You're gonna have to go to a store.
And I think that like when you have like these smaller niches of scenes across the country that's not popular here, but there's a guy here that loves club style bikes, so he wants to buy the part from the guy that now he canned.
Totally.
From the dude in California
at the end of the day,
or whatever.
Internet's not going to install your cam.
Exactly, true.
There's still, you got to go to the guy.
You still got to go to the guy.
But now you have an opportunity to check on that guy, make sure he's the right guy.
Yeah, you can look at his
Talk
social
to some
media.
Other guys that have gone to that guy.
See if he's a hack.
Like, you walk in there knowing that that's the right guy. So I don't know.
No, it's all good across the board. I'm just saying that it's different, and it's already, I've sat at tables like this and brought the same conversation up and got the exact opposite response. Like, this fucking thing's going to shit. It's bullshit. Everybody's doing online stores, and they want me to put the parts on for free.
So there's a clear happy medium, right?
Yeah.
David brought a valid point. Like, there is always going to be like the outsiders that sponge off of it or leech off of it and do it the wrong way. I got, like, for social media myself, there's actually a conference called VidCon, right? And it's a social media conference where, like, most of the time it's kind of like, Comic-Con, but for social, and you get to go around and meet all your social influencers that you love, but they have these panels. And I sat in on quite a bit of panels, and I actually learned a lot about, they're actually doing it right. There's a whole business plan around it. They're not taking advantage of it, and so that kind of enlightens you, because coming from the outside, you're like, you're doing a makeup tutorial. This is ridiculous, right? But in reality, they actually have a business plan behind it, and they know what they're doing. So they are getting supplied the goods, but they are under contract to do it as an employee.
There's something about that. And there's Jon does a ton of our install videos, like himself, right?
So don't watch them.
But if a guy goes, I don't know, that's the brand telling me that's really good. I want to verify that. So another dude does that same install, kind of has similar response. You're all right. That's verification.
A little bit of confirmation bias.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for that. And the beauty of it is it's all instant.
So, if you want to learn how to put an air cleaner kit on, I'm your guy.
John's your guy. Right. You could watch Jon put the air cleaner on, talk about the air cleaner, and then you could watch two other dudes do the same thing. Go, all right, Jon was right. I trust Jon now.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's something to be said for that. Otherwise, would you trust Jon? I don't know. Right?
It's questionable.
I don't know.
It's questionable. Even though I got an S&S shirt on and S&S stuff in the background, and I'm talking
S&S authority,
and it's like S&S YouTube channel. I don't know.
Feels okay, but I don't know. I'm gonna watch that guy from Paducah, Kentucky, do it first.
Anyway.
Yeah,
I get it, man. There's a lot of that, but like I said, it's just different.
Yeah.
It's
It's
good, but it's just like, man, it's
Are you
like,
going to teach us how to paint? Can we talk
I'm
about
old
painting?
now. That's
You
when I
are
realize
old.
I'm old because I think about things and how different they are, and I'm like,
I mean, there is like, you got to look at it, right? At one point in time, we were able to go to these record stores called like Warehouse or Tower
I
Records
love
with
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
Sam Goody, right?
Yeah.
Are there any of those?
I don't think so.
No, they're
think so.
gone,
Yeah.
evaporated. So,
well,
like everything
to
is
that point. I remember I was like, remember when you used to buy a CD or whatever, and you'd like, because that one song you've actually heard that you love.
Yeah, but you gotta
and then
buy the full album.
The other 9 songs are garbage, and you're like, that sucks. Now it's like,
Yeah, but sometimes there was a good one.
sometimes.
you get 2 out of 1 album.
But now it's like, Spotify, bam, I heard the whole
Yeah.
album. I'm like,
Yeah. Totally.
sometimes like certain brands, certain bands at least,
Yeah.
that I really just love them and always have my whole life. Like I'll still buy their
full album.
album when it comes out. But it's like,
Oh, see, I don't know. I've fully embraced kind of contemporary marketing. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
so
Other than Facebook listening to me, I don't know if there's any downsides.
I think we have to embrace it. It's
Well, we
just
do.
it's a part of how
but
we're evolving.
I like it better. Like back in film days, you did a photo shoot, and
Well,
you're shooting now.
yeah.
You do a photo shoot, and you do a little prayer, and you send
Hope
it
comes
off,
out.
Yeah.
right? And it comes back, and you didn't have chance to do that again. Whatever happened.
Yeah.
Whether it was a race or it was a product shoot or whatever that was. And if it was bad, you're just screwed.
Yeah.
You were just screwed.
No, it was done. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was it. Yeah, but you brought up a thing. You talk about film, right? Like there was a thing called a DVD, right? DVD player,
Yeah.
Blockbuster Video, all these things that like.
Came and gone.
Do you know anybody who owns a DVD player? Like everybody's got like Netflix, Hulu. It's
mean,
all digital,
I have a PlayStation that I can watch a DVD in.
right?
I don't even have that.
But now PlayStations, you can get them without
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't even,
now
just
with
straight
that-
digital
I don't
downloads.
even
Yeah,
have that. I
so
got nothing.
so
If somebody
it's
gave me a
like-
DVD, I would not be able to play it right now.
Yeah, everything is like evolving.
Nobody
It's
knows
just
the struggles
steps.
of a skip
Yeah.
on a CD.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, my kid wanted to see 2-Lane Blacktop. I don't know if you're old enough to remember that one.
You can only get it on DVD.
Apparently you cannot. I never found it online.
Really?
So I bought it on Amazon on DVD, and I have no way to play it.
I actually have a DVD player.
Really?
Yeah, I
Go to
do.
your house.
Yeah, they're
I
pretty
do.
cheap now. I think you get for like $20 at certain
Going to
places.
John's house.
I used to use it for like events.
Oh, yeah?
I would play it, like looping videos and
Yeah.
stuff.
No way to play it. And it was just, and it's pretty rare you find a movie, especially an older movie, that's not digital somewhere. And I'm sure somebody got into argument with somebody, and this one, the rights to it just never made
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
But you can't freaking find that movie. So yeah, anyway.
Well, I mean, in the same sense, like when it comes to, shooting photography and things like that, it gets complicated to try to find an angle to make money. Like if you're using it to prop up other areas of your business, like what I'm sure he does and I do and a lot of other people, it definitely helps. But that idea of like, I'm gonna grab a camera and go shoot a bike for a magazine and get paid to do that, it's gone.
Probably.
Probably,
but
yeah.
there's
Unless
still
you're
dudes-
huge and you're in Vogue or something like
there's
that.
still
you know?
dudes making good money. Like the shooter that we use for Moto America.
Yeah, but he has, to Chase's point, like the people are coming up right now. Like, just like there's so many people running out grabbing cameras thinking that they can do
Or
it
phones.
on phones, right? And there's like, oh, I'm going to spend a couple thousand on this camera and I'm going to make a bunch of money.
Yeah.
And that's not the case.
No,
So like,
that's not the case anymore.
And to your point, David, the Moto America guy, I mean, he's got 20 plus years in there. He knows every freaking
Yeah.
corner.
He shot those corners on film originally, yeah.
You're going to go to that guy
That
no
dude's-
matter
we're still
what.
writing that dude checks, though, so he's still making money shooting pictures.
Yeah, so it's all about experience, and a lot of these, especially with younger audience
you
these
sound so
days.
old.
I know I do,
really do.
but they want it now or 30 seconds ago. They don't want to put in the time and effort, and then they get frustrated, and it's like, cool,
That's
I'm done.
kind of how I feel about photography, as a matter of fact. Yeah, totally.
Well, I think that's just in general.
Yeah,
It's just
that's why we make
consistency.
Cody shoot all the pictures.
Yeah, I fell in love with it deeply. I've had a camera for probably 7 years, and then
We're digging your stuff.
I fell really deeply in love with it last year during the pandemic, where I wanted to get to where like I shot more than just a helmet that I painted or a bike I painted. I wanted to really try to capture a little bit more of a lifestyle side of it. And
The stuff you shot at your event was badass.
Oh, the
really
Fast
dug
Life
it.
camp out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really good.
I mean, it was straight influencers in the wild, though.
Yeah.
I had flashes.
perfect. It is
but
okay.
It came out so much more.
Why
I know
ashamed?
You're saying
right.
this like,
okay.
it's okay.
So,
I was like, you're letting the curtain
scenario,
down.
Yeah, the worst case scenario then would be a performance bagger influencer.
Yeah, right.
That guy is.
Yeah.
That's,
I think all of us in that world is. That's all.
It's okay.
We all have stickers with our Instagram names on.
I don't have that.
I don't have that.
No,
I think I have like 300 people following me on my Instagram.
I don't
like I'm not
know.
an influencer.
Yeah, I don't even know how many you have.
I think the last time I posted was in Nam.
You're a terrible social media influencer.
I know, but if you want to ask me any questions about social media, I can tell you exactly.
Yeah,
what to
that's kind of the irony is you get burnt on it.
Yeah,
you know, so if it's your job, and literally it's our job. Right? Yeah. It's literally our job.
I've been a little burnt on it since Sturgis.
Oh,
to be honest with you, like
you go through cycles.
Yeah, after Sturgis, I just on my personal one, I haven't even posted since Sturgis. Like I
can't even get on right now because unless it's for work. Like everything I see irritates me.
Yeah,
like, and I'm just
I don't mind that. I'm a happy unfollower.
Yeah.
So if it's
unfollow,
if it's
nonsense, but it's like people I know. So like, then I feel bad. And
sorry,
like,
buddy, you're unfollowed.
You know, so
hope your life turns out okay. Yeah,
I don't mind looking at the V'd up trader though. That's good.
Yeah, I got a VW problem, so John's mocking me.
No, I was actually being serious though. I actually have been looking at what's for sale lately.
Maybe I'll have a VW problem as well. Anyway, yeah, that's I don't know. You go through cycles, you know, where you get completely burned. You're not doing it. And,
the TikTok has been very funny lately.
That stuff is addicting to watch.
I'm a giant fan of TikTok.
I've been watching. I watch the reels on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm brand loyal.
Yeah. Okay.
100%.
Wow. I get you.
I'm loyal as fuck.
I've been introduced to
No, they're just TikTok videos ported over though, right?
That's all right.
They actually have the TikTok.
You're going to stay on the platform, right?
Stay on the platform.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that for some reason that a dog video. The wacky dog videos just make me laugh.
Dude,
I'm on the cat algorithm right now.
Okay.
Stop that.
Yeah. So you understand what I'm talking about, dude. It sucks you in.
My wife will say, "Hey, let's go real quick." She said, "Oh, I forgot something." So I'm like, "Real," and then she's like in the car waiting. I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like,
you don't even know. You get lost all of a sudden, right?
You're social mediaing on the fly.
I hate when like they tell you like, "Yo, it's addictive to watch," and this is really good. This is where everything's, when they were saying like, what is it? It takes too long. Like a 3-hour podcast is no one's going to listen to it, right?
Yeah.
And then Rogan kind of proved that wrong.
Sure.
But then.
You've done a good job proving that wrong as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. How long are we on right now?
We're almost at 3. Almost.
No shit.
Jesus Christ.
This is the longest I've ever been on. I did lose it for a second, though. I'll be honest.
We're going to be in trouble. Cody's giving us the side.
I know.
Right now.
Cody
when you think about what it takes to make a good video, like to me, if we have everything to make a video, I am going to do it soon. I promise to everybody in the world I'm going to make.
I look forward to the Jace TikTok.
Yeah,
it's going to be good.
I don't think I want to do those kind of videos.
No,
I'm obviously a social media fan, right? Like this is our job.
I think the humor out prevails everything.
It is. It's good, but I don't want to be that person.
Well, maybe it's your wife then. The creativity
could be
that
like scaring your wife, the
creativity that shows up on that platform is superior to everything else.
All right, so let me pose this because you guys have been in the industry for a long time, right? So you understand. 95. You said you started working in things.
I only got 4 years.
Well, yeah. Okay.
So this was a question.
He's lying. It's 4 years at us.
So for some of us that are in the boats like the Parawitzes and the Arlen S's, the builder category or the customizer or whatever.
Yeah.
It's weird because a lot of the industry doesn't look at a guy like me who has gotten a lot of his notoriety through social media, even though it's backed by a decent paint job.
Are we looking down at you? Because
no, it's nothing like that.
You're the new kid?
Well, what I've noticed from a lot of people that I talk to is that a lot of people, and I'm saying this, I'm just saying, right? They look at people that have gained a massive amount of followers on social media, which I haven't, but people like me that build bikes or paint or whatever, they don't think it's the same effort. Like they associate it as the same guy that drank Ocean Spray that became a million
right.
followers.
He's riding on a skateboard.
Yeah, so it's part of me doesn't want to play a clickbaity.
What happened to that guy?
I don't know.
He changes his outfit, does it again.
Okay.
They ride that way for a long time.
Okay.
I didn't even. Yeah, I lost it after the first one.
I thought it was pretty good. When the Ocean Spray president actually
the
came
guy.
out.
Did you see the guy that had the fly on his lip? That's all.
Yeah.
Did that?
Yeah.
Well, he popped back up on my social media today, and I went and looked at his page, and there's 400 videos of him doing the same thing again and again and again and again. I don't want to be that guy, and I don't want to do a TikTok video about something kind of. Yeah. I don't want to be famous for that. I want to use the platform to do my work that's actually gives me substance.
There's more than just that on that platform, though.
There's
plenty of nonsense. There's plenty of 13-year-old girls doing dumbass shit.
Well, they're doing a lot of dance moves.
There's also a fair
Some
amount
of them pretty good to watch.
There's pretty. I'm like, how'd you even do that?
Yeah, there's a ton of really decent shit on there. Like,
I'm not saying that it's not good.
I just watched a crazy how-to that I I was so fucking good.
So that's it right there. How-to.
Yeah, how-to videos are very important right now.
So
very important. Your avenue.
That is your avenue.
That platform.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. Like trips, tick trips or whatever you want to call it.
It's Jace taping a helmet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, but I mean,
trying to get out of that business.
No, but
well, good. So, you're going to train the next group. On TikTok.
You got to understand.
We solved this dude's problem.
Not everybody has like a brush or a gun, right? Yeah. Not everybody has a gun. You got aerosol cans, right? Teaching people like tricks on hey, maybe spray like this, spray like that.
I forgot to bring in my Harbor Freight gun. I was going to have Chase work with me.
See, or even like a Harbor Freight gun, right? But you have opportunity.
Hey,
there's a whole
avenue.
Gun. You know how many people would love to learn how to paint themselves? So
but it doesn't have to be the dumbassery. Like in TikTok has kind of a bad rap for that dumbassery stuff. And if you think back to the original Instagram, it was 13-year-old girls then too.
Yeah, it sure was.
So and as the thing matures and really becomes a media channel, right now more people are on TikTok than any other.
And you're starting to see it already evolve because like TikTok, the dancing girls or dancing people, it's starting to digress.
But
it's not so much.
It's being filled up with more stuff.
Like the how-to was corner molding in your house. And this guy had these really...
I do. When I go to Facebook, I get wrapped up into
this guy had this really
kid in Asia that digs out a fucking pool.
Oh, God, yes. I love that. Like when they make their home...
Yeah. Maybe not applicable, but but they in order for
people that use lathes and they would turn things.
Yeah.
But in order for your crap to show up on TikTok, because the competition for your attention is so high, the creativity level's got to be incredible. Like the camera angles are good and the audio.
You can do the little I've been watching the little dog houses like in the Asia. They build like the dog houses out of bamboo and stuff like that. And for these two little dogs, it's like a double decker and it has like a pool and shit like that.
That's a hell of a rabbit hole. Dude.
It's a really good.
That's a deep one. I'm glad you have not brought that to work.
It's a really good one. And then you got big
rabbit holes.
You know what? I know Cody will love me for this.
Yeah, I don't think
I got the perfect opportunity for you. Giant rabbit. You need to get a giant rabbit
suit.
No, live giant rabbit.
Okay,
I like where Jace went on this.
There's a such thing, and it's a living animal. It's a giant rabbit. It's yay big. It is a giant rabbit. You get one of those.
That's a thing?
Yeah, without a doubt. Look it up. There's Cody. What's the name of the giant rabbit?
Cody's on our computer.
He's looking at
giant rabbits for us.
Yeah, he's gonna pull a giant rabbit. So you need a giant rabbit. What's that?
Flemish giant.
There you go.
Holy crap!
So it's a thing.
Big rabbit.
So if you get a giant rabbit and you have him in every video with you doing whatever, you will get a million likes.
You need to tape off a helmet with your giant rabbit.
Yeah, hey, today Fluffy's going to show you how to paint.
Yes,
and
it's a tool for that.
I'm going to say Jason's not buying into that.
Yeah, get off my lawn.
You got the New Balances on now.
I'm disappointed.
I do want to find. I was at Adam Sandoval. He's a big YouTuber.
Oh yeah.
I was at his event this weekend, and a lot of other YouTube guys like Shade Tree Surgeon.
Yeah.
I think Her Two Wheels and a lot of really good people there.
Yep.
And I was just kind of absorbing because I want to find my niche within it without being them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you do need to.
So
but also to me, I hate saying this, but I am an artist and I care about the final product for what it means to me, not what it means to you. Right. So making a goofy video,
it doesn't have to be goofy.
It doesn't have to be goofy, but just for the sake of the reference, if I don't want to do that for the sake of getting a like here. I want it to be a legacy thing that people remember me from.
That's our challenge with TikTok right now.
Yeah. And that's
like as a brand,
challenge.
how do we do this and not
Make it engaging.
Nobody here's dancing, right?
Like I'm all down to have fun every once in a while, but I don't want that to be the one thing that people.
Yeah, that know you. Like, you're the guy with the giant rabbit.
Yeah.
You know, like that thing. Yeah.
There's so much content on there.
Dude, where's your rabbit?
Yeah, exactly.
Legit.
Right. I want to pet your rabbit. Yeah.
The Jace rabbit thing is a really good idea.
I love the idea.
Really.
God.
Yeah.
I just really want somebody to get a giant rabbit so I can see it.
You should just get one yourself.
No, we have an animal at work rule.
I have.
We can't do that.
I have kids and I have a dog.
Yeah,
so I'm
the
good.
dog and the rabbit's going to be back on mission.
Yeah,
right.
I'm good.
But no, it's. I look forward to your work with giant rabbits.
Yes,
I think it's going to be good. I think Texas is probably known for giant rabbits too, right?
How about you walk around a giant rabbit in Texas just as a dog? You know, like my God, that would be the best thing ever.
This could work.
I feel like you are trying to live vicariously through me.
No, we're helping you.
It's okay. We're helping you, and we just expect to have updates every once in a while.
Yeah, well, we'll follow him on TikTok.
Of course, TikTok.
All this for a follow.
Yeah.
This is going to be good. The rabbit's going to paint the helmets, maybe ride the motorcycle. It's giant. Oh, yeah.
It's like everything. I mean, there's so many people that's done the social things well. And I think that, like, I guess you guys were saying this just now, is like TikTok's young. And as it matures, with the audience, it will kind of illuminate a way that maybe guys like us can come in and find a way to use it to our advantage.
It actually has one of, if not the smartest algorithm.
Yeah.
For real.
So as soon as you start watching something, it knows how long you were on a video.
Yeah.
So you don't even have to touch anything. You don't have to like it. You don't have to follow it. You don't have to do anything. It knows how long you were there. And it knows where you are.
Well, yeah. So right now it's very easy on TikTok to gain a lot of views and I guess subscribers or followers or whatever. Yeah. Because it's still a young platform and there's not as much content on there.
But although it's young platform, it has the most following.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a billion plus people.
When I was talking to some of the YouTubers that were there at Adam Sandoval's, and they were saying like they are interested in doing TikTok stuff because the audience is younger and their demographic, majority of their YouTube demographic is old white men.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing about old white men, though, or just old men in general. They don't have to be white. They have the money.
They do have the money.
So
they do have
there's
the money.
that.
Yeah. It's that too, but it's also like you want to get yourself in the next generation so that they grow up with you
totally
in their mind.
It's relevant. Like that's a challenge for us because like bulk of our customers are old dudes.
That's the challenge that Harley's had.
Right.
How do we appeal to a young market?
Yeah, I don't know if they've figured it out yet either.
They haven't, but at the same time, like
I think they accidentally figured it out, or like shows.
Thank God, Sons of Anarchy came along.
Sons of Anarchy helped.
They owe them a lot of gratitude.
They did sponsor it.
For a little bit.
For like a season.
Not originally. Not originally.
They said no in the beginning, I understand it. But they followed it to the end.
No,
they
was
like season 3, the Black Street Glide, the Me Too bike of them all came in.
Exactly. It was like the last season they all of a sudden popped in and you see like, blinker lights.
They started blinker mirrors. Yeah. That was the best selling mirror I think Harley ever made.
All of a sudden, like, what is this?
In my mirrors.
I wish it'd be nice to know if Nike actually sponsored them too and got some love with the white Air Force.
The white Air Force low tops.
I hope they got something out of that.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure that Harley has a debt of gratitude to that. Well, but you look at any of the social media that launched the chopper craze in early 2000s, or not social media, the TV.
Yeah.
Like it was, it wasn't Harley that made that happen.
There was a couple, I say good, I like them because they're motorcycle related, but you had, like Harley Davidson and Marlboro Man, you had Stone Cold, you had these movies of the late 80s and early 90s that kind of helped push.
That's a really, I know it's not popular opinion, that Harley Davidson Marlboro Man, that bike's ugly.
It's ugly as hell.
I'm laying.
I love that movie though.
Yeah, I do love the movie.
Even though it doesn't make any sense.
Super fun movie. That bike just like...
They're in Fort Worth at the beginning, and there's mountains in the background.
I'm how inconvenient.
Where the fuck are you at, man? I've never seen those in my life.
Freaking Riverside. Yeah, it was really popular to do replicas of that bike for a long time. And that is really just not a good looking bike.
Well, eventually, I guess it's really easy to do a replica of a Sons of Anarchy bike because they all come that way from the factory.
Yes and no. Well, okay, a little bit. Well, T-bars. I don't think that comes from the factory. Yeah.
Hey, what fairing is that? It's the same one on all the other bikes, bro.
There is that accessory fairing, which
good thing you're not in the fairing business.
Yeah. That would be a tough business. Although we've got some guys that do pretty well in that. The that little accessory fairing that was on everybody's dying in that thing was a slow seller. That thing got no love.
Oh, no, nobody ran that.
Yeah, like no little old guys running that.
Yeah,
maybe
T-Sport fairings didn't go very well.
No.
The quarter fairing, and then obviously the RT fairing didn't have a lot of popularity until the scene brought it back.
Oh
and,
yeah, totally.
you know,
Yeah. But at the end of the day, all of them actually are really decent fairings.
Yeah.
As far as fairings go, like hey, keep the bugs and air off me.
The T-Sport ended up blowing up. You know,
yeah.
Well,
because they worked.
10 guys making those now.
Yeah,
shit, at least.
We
in
run.
Texas.
In Texas alone,
We
right?
run a Russ Wernemont fairing on
Those are
our
good.
King.
Yeah.
It's badass.
I run one on the Dyna too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
For for someone that's painted those fairings, and I hate painting RT fairings. They're a nightmare to paint. But
wow, interesting perspective.
The
I never
Russ-
looked at it that way.
the rust, because they're all one piece, the inner and the outer, so it's very hard to put it somewhere to paint the whole thing at once, as opposed to a Street Glide fairing has two pieces.
Yeah, sure.
You can lay it down and paint the top and the edges. But the Russ Warnemont fairing is at a good price, and the fiberglass isn't so thick that it becomes too heavy.
Yeah.
And you throw a good coat of real primer on top of it, and it's a perfect thing to work on.
They do a fantastic job. Yeah. We're Wernemont fans. So
Yeah.
I think it was the second one he made or third one he made, something like that. It's on our bike.
Yeah. Nice.
We ran into him at a trade show, and the King that we built that out of was a development bike that the development guys had given up. They're all, we don't need this thing anymore. Do you want it?
Yeah.
But I'm not a Road King guy. Like, I'm just not a fan.
I need fairing. I can't.
Everyone's got their thing. For me, I'm just not a Road King fan. And I'm all, that's the perfect solution.
Yeah.
And like his bracketry is really good, and the whole setup, like a straight bolt on.
Yeah.
Totally changed direction of that bike.
Oh, yeah.
We suddenly like that bike again.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's where Wernemont fans. Actually, that one's an Olin suspension. We've got Wernemont on your bike though, right?
Yep.
Your Dyna.
Yep.
Yeah, and some other bikes.
Nope. Yep. Fat Bob.
Yeah, Fat Bob's running
Fat Bob.
Wernemont.
Yeah. It's soft tail.
Yeah,
Yep.
so we're kind of Wernemont fans. He does really neat stuff.
Yeah.
Neat dude. His kid Carson is damn cool. So yeah, we're fans of that brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and we work hand in hand with a handful of other brands. That one's one of our favorites. So
It's a good product. I mean, like I said, I've painted quite a few of them, and it's
that's interesting. I love that perspective.
Well, I mean, think about it. Like if a lot of people will buy a fairing, especially these RT fairings, and they'll have $2,000 wrapped up in the brackets, the headlight, the fairing, and then they just assume that to paint it's $200.
Yeah.
Not from a real painter.
Yeah.
Like I charge $1,200 just to paint it black. You know what I mean?
Really?
And to
It's
some
that
people,
much
that's
body work, huh?
It's not that it's that much body work. It's a lot of work, and it's a big clunky thing.
Yeah.
That has one hole in it essentially that you can like handle it without screwing up the paint. Basically,
You can swear it's your podcast.
yeah.
It's okay.
I didn't want.
I know
the
you're
walls
so
can't-
scared,
There's
right?
microphones
Like,
in there.
every time I
Relax,
see him,
man, it's okay.
he says a bad word. He's like,
It's okay. It's your podcast.
I don't want HR to call me.
yeah, true.
That can
true.
happen. We should take him down to HR. Just to do it. Hey, we got a
gotta
problem with this
we gotta
employee.
walk him out.
Just to see the confusion on HR's face. I don't think that dude works here.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna tell
Anyway.
them when you guys touch me.
Now you have to
And
leave.
back to your YouTube
Now
channel.
you have to leave. And you realize we're in the middle of the woods here. They'll never find you.
And
Just saying.
this isn't on. This is just a
And it's just recorded
so-
on your computer. Nobody
I have no
knows.
service,
Yeah,
so,
right. And you
yeah.
have no cell service
Oh,
here,
nice.
right?
Yeah, so thanks for that. All right, well,
You started it.
We're at 3 hours, guys. We've
That
talked enough shit.
Probably
Yeah,
2 hours
probably.
too much.
Yeah, and I think I need to use the restroom. Anyways.
I gotta pee too.
Yeah.
All right,
So-
then.
All sorts.
Whoa! All of a sudden, it became a good time. Look at this.
Wait, is that HR approved?
No.
Oh, you can't do that?
Absolutely not.
When you cross the
No.
streams,
Yeah.
That's not
then
what
you
it
take
means.
down. That's what Ghostbusters did, right? Yeah.
That makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah. I want to do
Anyway.
the
Stay put,
editing.
Marshmallow Man.
I think we've kind of slightly talked about you guys' podcast throughout the thing, but I do want to tell people like the Performance Times podcast. It's on Spotify. It's on
It's
just
on
about everything, right?
Any platform you want to listen to podcast to, you can listen to ours.
Yeah, I don't know if
It's-
you really want to listen to us, but we're
Well,
on there.
it's like I said, I've listened to a couple of them, and you only have a couple out, really.
Yeah, there's only a handful.
Yeah.
A couple to me is like whatever I refer it to. as.
Whatever, Mr. Like 300.
Yeah. Is there
But
really
it-
where you're at? Is 300?
No, I'm at like 220 something.
Close
right now.
enough. It was like,
Well, like when you have
It's a ton of talking.
it's
And you always do super long podcasts too. That is a lot of talking.
yeah.
you like to talk.
That's wild.
It's good.
Like
Yeah,
to
I don't know
listen
if we'll make it to 200.
I don't know either.
Like,
we probably end
we're
up,
still trying to sort out 12.
Yeah.
Like we're stuck at 11.
Yeah, we're on 11 right
Yeah, I
now.
think
So
we're
if you
stuck
want to
at
listen to 11 different podcasts
Yes.
from us, go ahead.
And maybe 12 coming up
Yeah.
at some point.
Well, when you have what made me do my podcast or stick with it was getting sponsors early on.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't have like
We have a sponsor.
an obligation to do it,
Yeah, sure.
then I'd be like, man, this doesn't. I don't want to do this today. You know
Do
what
we
I
have
mean?
an obligation to do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, every time that we put a script and shit together,
Oh.
you're obligated to do it.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Yeah.
So
right.
there's just that aspect, and it kind of helps.
We need sponsors then.
It helps make it
Hey,
happen.
does Fast Life want to be a sponsor?
No, I was thinking coffee. But
A coffee
Like,
sponsor?
I don't think he can sponsor us back. We're going to sponsor him.
I'm just getting a hard
It's
time.
like
it
be a
works that
null
way.
and void sponsorship.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
You're all, meh. No, it's got to be
Wonder
coffee.
State.
It's got to be coffee.
Wonder
Yeah,
State. I
yeah,
just bought
okay.
some. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, we got to start.
No, but I
doing
think
that.
it's good. Like there's lots of people that have created podcasts. I mean, you guys kind of went through the gambit finding everybody. That,
We did. We
that-
actually talked to all you dudes first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Figuring
And
out if
figured
we even wanted
yeah.
to do it.
Yeah, right. Figured out what worked, what didn't, what made sense.
Yeah.
Started, that's how we got engaged with your podcast. And like, we were just milking you for information. Then we're all, this guy actually has good following. And
Yeah.
like, it all kind of starts making sense. And, so.
Well, with what it's coming down to, like I'm actually in the process of thinking about a few other not platforms, but formats of doing a different show than the one I do. Right?
What would it be?
Well, like
Or is it secret?
no, it's not secret, but like your format, the way you guys do your podcast, right? It's more news within the business, and
Yeah,
then a couple
totally.
things you bring in
That's
from the
exactly it.
outside,
Yeah.
as opposed to mine is literally just random as hell. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
it's loose.
it's
Yeah.
loose. It's a random conversation, so there's
Yeah.
no structure really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I took a few notes that I was like, okay, I want to bring this up.
Yeah.
I want to bring that up. I want to bring this up, right? But like if you look at what Torque Performance is doing with their TV show deal, right?
Yeah, sure.
It's got a couple. I think
They
I think
have
I
real
want
structure.
Yeah, I think I want to do a show that's more opinion based on current topics,
Yeah.
and have one of my buddies that I get really hammered with on podcasts to do it with me,
Yeah.
and try to find a comedic outlet towards
Yeah.
it. But
hammered podcasts are not good for brands. So we don't do that.
yeah,
You can't do that one.
yeah, you
No.
probably
Can't get away with
couldn't.
that one.
But
And we have a built-in comedian that's sitting here,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's like I just chime in and
Oh, really? It's
Yeah.
it's me. Really?
we're gonna do a mushroom
Okay.
podcast here pretty soon.
Oh man, look at that!
I feel like that's a bad plan. I listened,
it's so
I listened
fun.
to your podcast with SDC,
Yeah,
and it hurt my head.
yeah. I was just talking about the drugs that they did.
Yeah, I just hurt my head. That was a really personal thing. Like that experience itself was very
Yeah,
personal.
yeah.
I don't think it translated on podcasting. I don't think it translated.
It may not
I
have,
don't
but
think it did. I don't think it did. And
I'm trying to
I love
chill
Chip.
on the
No,
drinking.
I am a huge Chip fan.
Yeah.
and I don't know if that translated. So
I've been trying to calm down on drinking because there's podcasts. Ironically enough, our biggest listened podcasts are me and my band of bike guys that I travel with. 'Cause
Yeah.
we get hammered on these podcasts, and I'm scared as shit when I wake up the next day. Like,
'Cause you have no
what did
idea
I
what-
say?
yeah, right.
And it's live. Yeah, like we do them at the house. It's
Yeah.
live, so I have no idea if I went to that place I wasn't supposed to go.
yeah, I've listened to him. You did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
and then
Like your mom's probably not proud of some of that shit.
yeah, well, she did it.
Yeah, I'm just saying. So yeah, no, it's for us. Like our tack is completely different.
Yeah.
and I think there's kind of room for both, right?
Yeah.
like that kind of run to the cuff, or just is fun to listen to. Like I dig listening to him.
Yeah.
And there's a handful of like pro level, big time outside the industry podcasts that are done that way, and they're fun to listen to. I
Yeah.
like that.
And I just want it to be fun doing
Yeah.
it, because if it's not fun doing it, then it's going to translate
Yeah,
in how
it's-
you are.
It's hard for us because
I really like this. Like, now that we've sat down and done this, when we do another one, it'll be a lot more of us fucking with each other.
So
and therefore
look at
it
that.
gets a lot
He's
funner.
already implying that we're going to come back on.
yeah, I guess
Yeah,
so.
if you
Are
come
we
to
in
Texas,
Dallas or is he
you're not
here?
allowed to come to Texas without coming through my podcast.
We did it already.
Oh, that's bullshit.
I see.
I think after doing it, I'm more inclined to actually make an effort to come over there. How
So
about that?
I understand the get on thing is probably going to happen again.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
So
And then we have this. What is it? The Born Free 2? What is it
Yeah.
called?
what is it called?
Born Free Texas or
Free
something.
East. Yeah, whatever that.
So
will be in Texas for
we
that.
have that also. So there
Yep.
might be, and then if
We'll be in
Giddy Up
Texas.
comes on back, right?
No, Giddy Up ain't coming back.
No, it's gone.
Really? Giddy Up's dead?
Yeah, it's
That's what I heard. I didn't know if it was coming back or not.
We, as in me and a few other individuals in
Giddy Up?
Texas, we are still currently, we're in the talks with putting on a big show that has a Born Free vibe and a Giddy Up vibe, but more centered around more than just choppers. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
But when the Born Free to Texas thing came up and the time that they're trying to do it, it's kind of a prime time in Texas because we have bad heat too.
Oh, yeah.
And we don't want to bring people to Texas in June. And we also don't want
100 degrees
them.
and 100% humidity is lovely.
Yeah.
Fine.
So, I mean, it's
good
like,
bugs,
okay,
too.
well, we might have to sit down on our plans that we were working in and try to work with the guys with Born Free because instead of competing with them, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Join.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so
I
that's
can
kind of
see
where
that.
it's at.
Yeah.
I can see
no,
that.
it's smart. It's smart.
And
move.
they're big on show and a show type platforms as well.
Well, I mean, what Congregation kind of took they pivoted a little bit with their format.
Yeah.
Like that's why I was.
What am I going to this weekend?
That's Congregation.
That's Congregation.
Yeah, that's what I was telling you about that. That's why I wanted you to go over there because
we're kind of doing that. So with Mama Tried here in Milwaukee, right?
Yeah.
So they moved it to December now. So
Well, just for this year.
yeah. So
and then
what we're
it's
gonna
like
do?
literally 2 months later.
Oh, they're doing it again?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's already booked. It's actually the first day of Daytona.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, the one and we're kind of helping House of Harley set up a industry party that's gonna be.
So you'll be back here
in December. Yeah.
So then you could come over here and be a
it's-
part of the podcast.
I see where this is going to go. You're actually going to be on the
I'm
podcast.
driving this time with my wife, so I don't know. I mean,
Well, she can be
Your
on the
wife's
podcast. I got
gonna be
another
on the-
microphone over there.
Your wife can be on the podcast too.
she only likes the shotgun on podcasts. So
I don't even know what that means.
I don't know what that means either.
I don't
Drinking?
I know.
HR. That's right.
Yeah. Again, I still don't know what that means. Anyway, no, that's the move. Then you're back here in December.
Yeah.
It'll work out.
Yeah.
You're driving from Texas to.
Yeah, I'm driving up, bringing photography shit.
You're literally
podcast
driving
shit.
right past us. Then. It's gonna
Oh
be
yeah,
good.
you get
Not
to
really.
experience a little bit
I
of
go
the-
through Chicago.
No, you're coming right past us.
You're gonna go through the cold.
You know,
This is
nobody wants to
perfect.
drive
I
through
actually want to.
Chicago.
I'm excited to be here while it's cold. I want to feel it.
You're gonna feel it, and if maybe have some icy roads. That'd be awesome.
I don't know.
I got a four-wheel drive.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, you'll-
actually, I wonder if we'll have, or if they're not going to do any ice racing or anything, are they?
No,
I don't think it'll be cold enough yet.
Yeah.
February. February. It would have
Yeah,
to
you gotta
be in
wait. So no,
February.
the early December, you may not even have snow.
You may not, but it'll be cold.
All you get is the cold.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But
good
that
enough.
day, you'll enjoy it when you get out and you're like, my pants are cold. It's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, that's a good show though. I love that
Yeah.
show.
I'm excited. You know,
Yeah.
I've always wanted to come to it, but it's like I said, it's in that part of the year where I just now recently started thinking about actually driving to a show and not riding to it. Because I've never set up booths at shows because I want to be there on a bike.
In December, you're definitely going to want to drive.
Exactly. So.
Yeah,
you're definitely gonna try.
You're not.
Yeah.
You're
Anyway,
not.
that's a
Trust
good
me,
show.
I'm not
So that's
questioning it. Like I'm definitely driving. So.
If
just
you
bring the
ride, though,
equipment.
oh
Actually,
my
bring the
God.
equipment and do it at the show.
Oh yeah,
No,
we
just
can do
come.
that.
No, come
This'll
to
Yeah.
come to House of Harley, and we're gonna have everything set up. So if you guys want to do one, then
Oh, we
I'll
can do
give
that.
you the thing.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Because
okay,
I said, what we did
Yeah.
last time, I
We
came
can.
here in September last year, and while they were doing the 131, they gave me their conference room,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we set all the podcast stuff up, and we had, look, Chris Callen, Jeremy from Flat
Hey,
Out
Chris.
Friday, the guy that
Yeah,
put it
no.
on, puts on
Yeah.
Flat Out Friday.
Yeah,
we
Jeremy's a
had
good
Bill Rosenthal or whoever. He kind of like works at the museum and does a lot of the.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's curating is the word
Yes.
that you would use.
Yeah.
We had a lot of people just come in while I was in town
Nice.
doing all this stuff. So it was that's the same thing we're going to do this
Yeah.
year.
Okay.
And
I think
Mobile
that'd be
podcasting,
perfect.
we haven't done that
yeah,
yet.
let's try it.
Right.
Okay, so
We're
let's
in.
plan on that. We'll do a podcast with you with your stuff.
We'll be there.
That'd be perfect.
Yeah.
awesome.
What's the alcohol content of that dealership?
HR's not there.
Oh.
Oh, no, we're going to be. Yeah, we'll be.
Okay.
Bro, come on.
All right. We'll call it. Okay.
All right. Well, hey,
wrap with that.
they can find you guys at the same thing they heard on the sponsorship. So there we go.
There we go.
There you go.
All right.
All right.
All right, cool.
Thank you, Jace.
I want to thank Jon and David for sitting down and sharing their knowledge of the S&S brand and family and history with us on this podcast. And you guys heard it on this podcast. They have a podcast, the Performance Time. It's pretty good. I've checked out just about all the episodes, and I've got a lot of knowledge about multiple facets of the motorcycle world, from racing to events and shows and products coming out. It's a good podcast. You should check it out. The Performance Times podcast. Also, if you guys are looking for something to do before the end of the year, there's 2 events coming up I want to plug real quick. It's the Down South Camp Out, which is going to be going down in November. I think it's the 5th through the 6th, or 5th through the 8th. I'm checking it out real quick. One second. Here we go. It is going to be the 5th through the 7th. So it'll be Friday, November 5th to Sunday, November 7th in Inglis, Florida. Down South Camp Out. It's a great time. It's a very different camp out than the Fast Life Camp Out. So it's not like you go to one and not the other. If you went to the Fast Life Camp Out, you want to go to the Down South Camp Out. It's a different vibe, equally fun, equally badass. And also coming up in December is the Mama Tried event in Milwaukee. And more importantly, at least for me and my homies, is the industry party that's going to be taking place at House of Harley. So if you're in the area, you want to come out for a great weekend in Milwaukee, it's going to be the weekend of the 3rd, I believe. So check that out on the calendar. Mark it, come out, see people, buy shit, and have a good time. If you guys want to support this podcast more than just listening, you can do so by checking out our Patreon, which there's a link on our website, fastlifegarage.com. You can get to that link, donate $1 a month, and you can check out the podcast I just released before I finish releasing this one on there with my good buddy Dragon, aka Jaden, and Jive Ass Honky Kyle. Good time talking about some upcoming plans that we have. So if you want to check that out, all it takes is $1 a month to support this podcast. If you want to do more, fuck yeah. If $1's all you got, much appreciated. So check it out. We'll see you back on the next podcast. We have House of Harley coming on to talk about all the rad shit they've been doing this past year. So have a good one, and we'll catch you guys on the next podcast. Peace.